Here's a message of importance to millions of people who are continually pale and washed out, weak and run down. Doctors will tell you that these conditions are often caused by a deficiency of iron. The iron you need to keep you physically fit and mentally alert. Medical studies show that 2 out of 3 women and many, many men lack the daily iron your body requires in a form your body can easily use and put to work. Every dose gives you more than your daily minimum iron requirement.
We are awake, we are aware, we are not alone. We are striving for more.
So if you're not getting the iron your body needs, if you feel weak, run down, and are easily upset,
We are striving for more.
start taking iron today.
We both lie sound and still in the dead of the night. Although we both lie close together, we feel miles apart inside. Was it something I said or something I did? Did my words not come out right? Though I tried not to hurt you, though I tried, but I guess that's why they say every rose has its thorn. Just like every night has its dawn. Just like every cowboy sings a sad, sad song. Every rose has its thorn.
It's Friday, my dude.
Thank God it's Friday.
Happy New Year! YouTube, so happy to be with you. It has been a long, eventful month off. My God, so much has happened since the last time we were live. Man. But I'm so happy to be here. I think this is going to be one hell of a show. This is a long anticipated, much discussed. We wanted to make this happen better than a year ago, probably closer to 2 years ago. We wanted to make this happen. So the fact that it's actually taking place is super exciting. Let's just jump right in and say hello to everybody. First of all, starting off with one Mr. Zachary Zabala, or Good Times for All, if you prefer, here on YouTube. Zach. Okay, how you doing, Zach?
Hey, Josh. I'm doing all right.
Good.
I don't know. I just woke up, actually. I way slept longer than I was planning on. Got me a little nap in, and my nap turned into like a sleeping session.
I was pretty surprised to not see you in the room when I hopped in. You're usually first one
usually
here.
I'm just sitting there waiting. Yeah. No, I woke up like 5 minutes before, about 15 minutes ago.
Well, nice. Glad you could make it.
Yeah. Yeah. Wouldn't miss it.
Let's head on over to say hello to the Adam Meakin. Adam, how are you doing over there across the pond?
This Friday, mate, I'm in love. So, yeah, loving it. Good to be back, guys. Good to be with you all.
Sorry, I'm hearing things. I'm not sure if it's coming through the headphones or if it's like outside. Threw me off there for a little bit.
Not making extra noises. Just that. So, but yeah, it's good to be back in it, mate.
Yes, it is. It really is. Bittersweet, I guess. I was enjoying our time off. I think we went live once while we were off, which is pretty unheard of. But I was really enjoying being able to relax on a Friday night after I got home from work and not have to stress about making sure everything else got finished and taken care of. But that said, I think everything will be okay. I'm not entirely sure what we have planned for this year here on Have No Sphere, but damn it, we'll make the best of it. So heading back to the Zach's little area. Zach is staying with, actually, Mrs. Cammie Nodell and family. Cammie, how have you been? How is the family doing? How's everybody handling the last several weeks?
I am very grateful. We are doing, I think, amazingly well. We have me and Bob and Zach and my son Jaron together. We do have a yard and place to spread out. We set the ping pong table up last week in our living room, and so that's a little bit fun. If you get antsy, you can go in the living room and play ping pong. And the sun is starting to peek through right now. It snowed last night, but it's melted now. It's, again, trying to be beautiful. Things have changed a bit since we were on last. Teach us to take a break. But overall, I'm very grateful. I think, I'm very blessed.
Well, good. That's what I like to hear. And then last but not least, since John Savage didn't bother to show up for the first show of the year. No, shout out, John. We love you. Wish you could have made it. My other partner in crime over on Truth Frequency Radio on the Ironworks every Tuesday and Friday at 4 a.m. Central. Mr. Walt Johnson, Flat Earth Head, here on YouTube, or at Facebones777 on Twitter. Walt, how are you doing? How's everything going on in the Great Northwest? And you're still muted. See, because Walt's not at home with his trusty little setup, he's got to figure out how to unmute the Zoom and not his microphone as he is so used to doing.
Do you see him sitting there? He said he might have to step away.
Oh, that's right.
At a moment's notice.
Gotcha. I just realized it was going to be a moment later at a moment's notice. Well, trust me, Walt is here. And Walt has been very busy up in Oregon, helping take care of his mother, which it seems he is doing right now. So, awesome. But if you want to check out more about what Walt's been up to, you can always head on over to tfrlive.com. Sign up over there. Listen to the Ironworks. We've got better than 2 years worth of shows in the archive over there. So feel free to head that way. Now, that being said, we have an excellent guest. Someone I'm super excited to have on. Let's see here.
Today. I was born somewhere in England.
Oh my God.
My stepfather is a plastic surgeon, and I always thought that there were certain regions of England that had very high accents. I mean, just like purposefully high. Do they all just genetically have high voices? I just remember someone came in and he was showing her what she might look like after surgery. And he went like this to her. And she was like...
Sorry, I could listen to this all day long. But we've got the next best thing. We've got the woman...
How did you get that?
I thought we had some American lass on, not somebody from... Well, I can only assume he's part of the dignitary by that accent.
How did you get that? Hello.
Hello,
I can
Rose.
see Rose blushing. I can see her blushing too. Yeah.
That was the last thing I expected to hear. Hello, Josh, Adam, Zach, Walt, Cammie. I'm in shock that got leaked.
Oh, welcome, Rose. Do tell us what we're listening to.
Oh, dear. Well, I had a nice little chat with Mark Devlin a while back, and it inspired him to do a little video on different English accents. So I made a private recording that I sent directly to him. And then maybe I sent it to a few other people. And wow.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got that directly from Facebook for whatever it's worth. I didn't think it was so secret, hidden things like that.
Oh, wait a second. You know what? You're right. I did post that on Brian Staveley's wall. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it scroll across my feed and said, there's no way I'm just going to let that go by.
It's so I have a little bit of a thing where I like to speak in different accents. I really do enjoy it, and you're provoking me. So now for the rest of the show, something might come out.
Perfect. That's what we like. I think in different accents for whatever that's worth.
Oh, yeah. I think in different languages sometimes. And it's funny, if I'm in the Netherlands and trying to speak Dutch, if I don't know a word in Dutch, I'll think of it in Spanish first. And then it just becomes Spanglish, and they don't even know why I'm trying. And everyone in the Netherlands speaks English, so they don't even know why I'm trying.
Why are you trying? Right.
But I am in love with that language.
Well, real quick, I see that Walter is back. So I just want to pop over and say hello to Walt if he is in fact back.
He is, in fact, more or less back. First, my sincere apologies to Rose and everybody and in chat, etc., for being so late. I'm running with Mom, dealing with things. It's hectic, but
No apologies needed, sir.
Feeling better and breathing better, so we can rest easy for a while. Rose, welcome to Havenosphere. I'm sure you've already heard that, but I want to say it as well. Glad to have you here.
Thank you so much, Walt. I am very happy to be hanging out with you guys. I got caught off guard in the beginning. I was practicing my hey, happy to be here. And then I heard myself speaking in an English accent.
Love it. Love it. Hey, that's what happens when the camera hits, right? The lights, the paparazzi.
Well, I was really hoping that was going to be a surprise. I'd even excluded it on Wednesday when we were going over some of the stuff that I'd gathered for this evening. But I kept that one up my sleeve just because I wanted it to be a surprise, because I didn't think you'd expect it.
Exactly. Having the pre-show completely threw me off. I thought that I was a pro and coming into this knowing what was going to happen. And boy, did you get me.
Well, leave it to the Iron Realm. I mean, after all, this is the place where Crow likes to come and kick his shoes off, have a couple drinks, and just relax and hang out and not have to be, on and be Crow all the time.
Yes. And I am an individual, but I am a huge fan of Crow. And so I just have to tell you that this was the show where he dropped the little tidbit that he has a tattoo. So I don't know if you knew that was the first place that he shared that.
I love it.
That is awesome. No, I didn't realize.
Now we're going to play a game. We're going to play a game later, everybody. So get your favorite Crow show in your brain. Get the number and the person who was on it, and you can ask Rose yourself.
That's right. It's
going to be amazing. This is going to blow your mind, people.
Wait, this feels like the game that's actually just like a constant plug, just constantly plugging the show.
That's it. That's perfect. That's the way to do it.
Cool.
But for anybody that might not know why it is you are so closely connected to Crow 777 and Jason Lindgren and Secrets of Saturn, maybe people don't actually understand how it is you are so closely connected and what that connection is. So why don't you just let everybody know exactly what it is you do for those fellas over there?
Well, I just love helping them to stay organized. And lately I've been working really hard on the transcripts. I just type out all of the episodes, and it really helps me to retain the information. And people don't realize that it's actually helping me. It was my idea to do it because I knew it would benefit me. And then after a little bit of time, I started to feel like I was helping a lot. And so it gave me more confidence to try and help more. So I offered to take over the schedule, and they have so much information that they're going through all the time that they're kind of forgetful with the stuff that doesn't matter. So I love the work that they do, and I just want to support them. And so with the transcripts, the schedule, and when I can with the research, back in the day, I remember there was a couple episodes like the Edward Bernays and the FEMA episode when there was like a hurricane coming around, and we did a terrorism and a surveillance episode. And I was really working on those ones. But lately I've just been kind of helping in the background, and I really enjoy it.
So I got to ask, exactly, well, maybe you can't give an exact answer. Approximately, how many words per minute do you type?
100.
Jesus Christ, that's insane.
And I could tell you, okay, my laptop died recently, and so I went to Best Buy and I took a typing test on like all of the laptops to try and figure out which one I typed fastest on. And like people were looking at me for sure. I must have had a weird look on my face for sure.
She's just over there mashing keys. She's not even doing anything.
And the fastest one was the cheapest one. See, it's all a hoax, guys. Just get the cheap one, man. I mean, all I really needed was a word processor. So for that, so I just went for it.
You should have just done the old style word processors. The big.
Right? The brother with the LCD screen.
There you go.
Yeah. I had that in the 90s.
But you're also pretty closely connected with Jason Lindgren and Secrets of Saturn as well.
And I love him so much. And I would I would obviously not be part of this at all if it wasn't for him. I didn't even know who Crow was. And I fell in love with Jason's voice. Duh. And I was like, who is this guy? And is he talking off the top of his head, or is he reading from notes? It's like, I was too hypnotized by the voice to like realize that he was reading notes that he writes in advance. And then we got together. And even then, when I heard that he was the co-host, I would listen and I'd be like, gosh, the other guy needs to stop talking. We're not talking enough. Just, who is this guy? And he said, you should check out the lunar wave. And I look at the thing and I just wanted to see UFOs. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be seeing. Maybe I shouldn't be looking at this on my phone. And then I just started listening and transcribing. I'm like, okay, all right. It was quite a transition. I just wanted to support them. I wanted to start my own podcast too. And then I realized I want to support this information and help get it out there. Crow doesn't want to have anything to do with social media. So I decided to help do that. Just post links. So that's another thing that I do.
And not for nothing, you've got that nice overview point of view of their work. So if anybody would be positioned to just sort of summarize all of their shows that they sort of do on a weekly basis and just sort of make it into a smaller bite-sized, here you go, or here's just a brief overview of what they discussed, here's the main talking points type of thing, I think you would nail it. I think you've got the voice for it too. I love your enunciation.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to. I love talking about the genesis of it. It's all based on the fact that Crow started off with 4 years of constant telescope work, capturing telescope work, capturing all these anomalies and questioning things, which he's been doing his whole life. And so that got people interested, and he thought, gosh, I got to start a podcast. And Jason was a guest a couple times, and thank you, Jason. I'm talking about you. He just brought me coffee. Why are you doing? And so then Jason started being on the show all of the time. And then I came into it. And so I would say that the show is basically exposing the fraud that is occurring in the world. And once you understand the massive fraud on all these different fronts, it's just a full spectrum attack on our minds. And we're just living, we're trying to escape this fantasy world and get back to reality. What is actually going on? What is the nature of reality? And I love the objective standpoint that they like to take, and they both have separate opinions. And now I also have certain opinions as well. I'm starting to develop. I'm starting to realize that I am an individual with an identity. And with everything that's going on in the world right now, I just feel a little bit more comfortable expressing myself because, wow, guys, now is the time to talk, right? So we can't sit by and say that we didn't say anything.
Exactly. You hit it. And that's really how, I mean, truly, when the madness began to kick off here where I'm located, I was ready to just say, well, screw the hiatus. Let's get back on the air and get this stuff straight, man. What's going on with you people?
And I don't know that would have done a bit of good. I mean, look at where we are. Look at how far we've come in just a few short weeks. It's insane.
Yeah, for sure. It's mind-blowing. I just love observing human behavior. And so I feel like I've been looking at a petri dish in a way. And in some ways I feel surprised. In other ways, it's like what we've been describing the whole time, but it just happens so fast. It's like, whoa, they flipped a switch.
Right. Suddenly we got pulled down into the petri dish with it all.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that even if you're aware of the fraud that's occurring, like all of a sudden, I wonder, just, anyone listening to this that's here with us today, like, I think that there's an increase in the amount of mainstream news that we've been exposed to, just because we feel like we have to, in a way, just to, do our due diligence, because this is about what's being put into the minds of so many people right now. I just want to make sure I'm taking it all in. I wish that I was paying this kind of attention during 9/11. I was a little bit too young.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I know. And it's just not awake yet. Not enough. Our eyes were still kind of closed. Yeah, I wonder if it was the same.
No, oops, I'm sorry. I was going to say, now, I wondered if it was a good time to ask you guys if you had seen Zach's latest video to our protectors. That was really quite remarkable. Anybody else in the chat see that, or think it's a direction we should all be going into, and, addressing the protectors and just, again, putting different stuff out there?
Cammie, what do you mean by protectors? I haven't seen the video. I would love to. I'll definitely check it out. But I'm not really even sure what you mean by protectors.
It's just a very, very short video, a couple of minutes long. Is it possible to play it on the show? That way we can all share it instead of me just talk about it, because it was done so well. Zach, is that something you're comfortable sharing?
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah, I can just pull it up here if...
And this one, for just a little disclaimer, this isn't for us, folks. This isn't for people who are seeing through the lies. This is for your brothers and sisters and mothers and fathers that don't see through the lies, but need to realize that they do have a choice.
Yeah, Zach was, the immediate response when he put out the video was like truthers going, saying, this is, that's a lie and this is a lie, and that. And it's like, well, within the things, that they believe, it's still a message and choices coming up, or that can be coming, that I think it's important that, with friends and family and everybody sit and talk about like what choices you may face and how you want to make them.
Oh, wait. Okay, let's get right to it. Are you referring to whether or not the choice, like if there's a law such as a mandatory vaccine?
Exactly. If there's a law like a
what
mandatory
you're
vaccine.
going to choose to do.
Right. Okay. Well, yeah. Over my dead body, it's just not even going to happen. I'm not letting anyone come at me, even if it means death.
Right.
It's
But
so
if you're,
simple.
let's say, if you're told to go door to door and pull civilians out or whatever and get them and you're in law enforcement, you have a choice. If you're a nurse and you're told to like strap down or to, in other words, these people are not, these are all good people. What gets me is the study that I think we're all familiar with, where they did, they took, was it teachers? They took teachers and they were to like ask students questions or whatever, and they were told that they were hooked up to electrodes that caused a lot of pain, and every time they missed an answer, they were supposed to jolt them, and they were shown where the levels were dangerous and where they were lethal and where they could kill them, and a certain percentage of the people actually carried through and gave what they thought were lethal doses because somebody with a lab coat was taking notes and seeing how they would perform.
Right. That's the Milgram experiment, where the obedience to authority. It breaks my heart. It breaks my heart to think of these people, that anyone would follow orders. The obedience to authority thing is strong. Also, there was a gentleman who was calling up to 70 fast food restaurants and trying to convince them that he was a cop, and saying that, one of the people at the register, usually a girl, stole money or something. They needed to be detained until the cop could get there, and they had them strip search and do horrible things that I will not even repeat. People can look it up if they want, but it's a perfect example of that. That wasn't even an official experiment. It was just some sicko. And so that it's terrifying. And so I'm excited to see this video because we need to, oh my goodness. Yeah. If you're a cop or a teacher or a nurse, man, I was like, my mind was thinking about, okay, if you're a nurse and you're told that you need to take a vaccine in order to still work there, just quit, But then you have to think about these more complicated things. What about
there are more complicated? And these people, the teachers, the nurses, I have a dear friend that's a nurse. It's not the people that are inherently bad. It's their training to always defer to authority. And something else I found interesting is I gave a workshop with Zach at the Flat Earth International Conference last year. And it was a fun workshop. I really enjoyed giving it, but noticing and going through the comments, what people had a problem with more than anything, more than, the magnetic fields or anything else that we were presenting and that any of the information was, is they had a huge problem that I was wearing a lab coat. Seriously, that's what the comments were about, is how dare she wear a lab coat? What are you a doctor of?
That's like strong anti-scientism, I guess.
It was hysterical. And I was like, no, you don't get it. I was mocking the lab coat. My lab coat said Globebusters on it. I mean,
right.
Right.
You should have actually worn a Ghostbusters. And then
I did a globe. Yeah. No, it's hysterical. So yeah, but yeah. Do we have the video ready to show, or
before we do? Can I just, because Zach sent it to me, and so I read it first, and I kind of get Zach's message, and it kind of made me a look a bit. America's an interesting place. Certainly think for the Western world, the actions over there will lead. And a shout out to Static in the Attic. He did a video this week. I'll post it in the chat in a sec. It's the 1932 almost civil war, where veterans of World War One who were promised a bonus payment post-depression, they were promised this bonus payment in 1945 for their services in the First World War. And during the Depression, things got so bad, I think they marched on, I think this is another piece of hidden American history. They marched on Washington to to some atrocious civil rights movements. So when I think about rereading Zach's little statement that's there, to me, that's how I address it to those that are going to impose whatever, whether we think it's vaccinations, RFID chips under our skin, whatever is coming, because we ain't got a clue in my book. But whatever it is, it's going to require the sheeple, the masses, to enforce it. I just thought that was something to remind Americans in their modern history, something that they've hidden. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It's the 1932 almost Civil War.
Yeah, I'd never heard of. I mean, I've heard of the Civil War atrocities that happened after, but I never heard of the 32. I'm going to look into that.
Yeah.
I posted it in the chat now, guys. It's there.
In the Zoom group chat?
In the, in the YouTube
okay,
chat.
There are a couple of things that I always think about what the American government has done. Just like the syphilis experiment, the Tuskegee syphilis experiment. Have you heard of that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then also another one that comes to mind is I think after World War II, they say that certain countries were forgiven for the weird experiments that they did as long as they shared their findings. Just something about that just really spoke to me.
Oh, yeah, the CDC was on trial. A lot of the members of the CDC at the time during World War II were in the Nuremberg trials and held, and most of them were released, of course, to go work in other countries. But yeah, the CDC, Center for Disease Control.
That was one of the...
It's a Mandela effect. It centers for disease control now.
It's one of the moral questions we're presented as medics. Should, early on, should we use the information gathered from the Nazi concentration camp data of the trials where, how does a human gait affect if you cut somebody's hamstring out and then recover them and make them walk afterwards? Should we use all of that data to benefit humanity in the future? It's there. It's happened. What should we do with that information? It's kind of one of those good moral questions you're given.
Totally. Yeah,
on.
I could think about that for hours, just that one thing. It's like a chicken egg thing where, okay, the information is already there. Why not benefit from it? But then knowing that it's possible that that information can be exploited, like teaches the aggregate mind that it's okay in the first place. Like maybe that influenced people to do it in the first place. So if we could just teach
so I'm going to try
ourselves
it.
not to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, but what about the poor disabled kid that if you looked at that information, they could walk again?
Okay. I can only speak for myself. Like, I wouldn't, I would not. Okay. One time I saw this little rat that was on a treadmill with food in front of it on a harness, and they had paralyzed it and they were just trying to make the mouse walk again. And I thought, no, I don't need to walk again. I'd rather the mouse just not have to do that. But that's just me. And I'm not going to say what other disabled people should do, If they
it's
want
not individual disabled
walk
people making the choice. It's people of supposed who want to make amazing medical breakthroughs. That's the next thing. You're not bound by your limitations. You want to be a god. You want to be a healer. How do you
That's how
marry that? How? So how do you marry that? The information's happened. The pain has already happened. What do you? I say there is no right answer, is there? There's no right or wrong. You can. That's the way I left it. You have to make personal choice at any point, but.
Right. Well, I mean, we have to make our personal choices about what we will consent to, and then realize that these massive corporate governments are going to do what they do. And I would also, when I try to sit here and think about, okay, what is the morality of this? I have to remember that the information is being used to feed their agenda and the allopathic model. And we have to remember that we are beings that could naturally heal ourselves. And if we avoid toxicity, maybe all of this crap that we are trying to avoid can be avoided in the first place. So yeah, thanks a lot. My mind will be going in circles on that one for the rest of the night. Oh, here's the video.
Protectors. I would first like to start off by saying thank you to all of you that have dedicated your lives to making this world a better place. All of the men and women who risk their lives every day, whether you are a police officer, a firefighter, an agent of a federal department, or a member of our armed forces. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for your sacrifices to make this a safe place to live. I would also like to thank all of you in the healthcare services, all of the doctors, nurses, EMTs, and countless others who have dedicated their lives to helping the sick. To all of you that help us live our most healthy lives possible, from the bottom of my heart, thank you as well. Now I know there are many vital jobs I did not mention, and to all of you who also make life a healthier, cleaner, less stressful, and safer place to live, thank you for all that you do. Throughout history, we are taught that there have been people who went along with tyranny and those who stood up against it. There have been those who stood up for the citizens who were too frightened to speak for themselves, and those that marched them to their deaths simply because another ordered them to. There are stories told of great battles where very few fought against overwhelming odds to protect their families and homes and left the battlefield the victor. Yet other stories speak of great atrocities most could never fathom doing themselves. What will you do if you are ordered to carry out such atrocities? Will you follow orders and pass the blame? Will you infringe your might onto others' homes and force another's will upon their bodies? Will you inject those who are unwilling and believe the dangers do not outweigh the risk of such a procedure? These are a few questions some of you may have the unfortunate task of asking yourselves one day. To all of you, I say that I am so sorry that you have been put in such a position. But please remember who has put you in this situation. Many of us just want to live our lives in peace and make a number of compromises to be able to do so. Please ask yourself, which side of history do you want to be on? Do you want to be part of history that is tried to be forgotten, like the atrocities committed after the Civil War during martial law in the southern states? Or do you want to be part of the history that is celebrated and revered, like the heroes who stood up against tyranny and founded this nation long ago? This will be a question you get to decide. Remember, most of the people carrying out those horrible atrocities were just following orders. Never forget that you have a choice.
Excellent.
Awesome. Yeah, really great. Good job, Zach.
Yeah, well said, mate.
Excellent work.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Yeah, it took me a while to get all that together. I tried to say it without being conspiratorial and without being too judgy.
Oh yeah, that wasn't judgy at all. I was that video made me realize how judgmental I am. I mean,
yep, exactly right.
But so it's very even-handed, and it's kind of lifting them up a little bit in the beginning and be like, thank you. And so yeah, anything to get people thinking about their own behavior and taking their own personal responsibility over their actions, just getting them thinking in that mindset is always a positive thing. So 3 cheers for that video.
Oh, thank you. And thanks everybody in chat. Much appreciated.
Hey, Zach, also in chat, you have Vagabond asking if you received the new meter toy, which we did, and about using it or any of that. So I didn't know if you wanted to respond to that and too, because that was a cool little toy we got at the house. And I think it relieved my mind a lot. I think it might be something interesting to it if you're able to talk about it. I'm not technically wise enough to talk about it, but I sure like the idea of a meter that you can tell if, what type of G is hitting you and what you're being bombarded with.
I'd love to hear about that.
Yeah, I'm actually going to be making a video on it real soon. They're only, I believe, $111, and that was complete with tax and everything. Amazing little box, just a nice small little box, but it gives you your electric field reading, your electromagnetic field reading, and your radio frequency reading. All the RF, the EMF, and the EF that's in the air around you. I mean, you put it over a cord and say there's nothing running, but there's a little light on the device, it'll read that cord and tell you, okay, there's so many, volts per meter in the air right here around this cord. And then you turn the device on and it instantly jumps up. And yeah, I can't believe how accurate it is. It would be a $30,000 device 30 years ago, and you can get them for $100 now.
Nice.
But they're good. It's $128 complete. Sorry about that, Bob. Yeah, I think it was a $111 before tax and shipping and all that stuff. But for the price, you can pay $1,000 easy for one of these. But this one is rated for some reason one of the most highly recommended.
Moses.
Yeah, the links in the chat.
Yeah, Moses wants to know if it's the one that Bob showed earlier. It is the one that Bob showed earlier. And what we're talking about for people jumping in and me jumping in with it is my husband ordered a little meter that detects all of the different radio frequencies and waves that you're being hit with. And it was the thought with that if they're coming in, they come in directionally. So if you are getting bombarded from a certain area, what you would be able to do is shield off that area with copper screening or aluminum shielding or different, I guess there's all kinds of different screenings and things that you can do to shield it. And so it's like a practical little tool to take around and see exactly what you're getting bombarded with. I hope I explained it well. Was that good, Bob?
Yeah. God forbid there is like a event, like radiation, you would be able to know where safe would be or not be.
I know, like as a mother especially, or any same person though, as we're watching all of the different 5G videos, you're sitting here wondering, looking on the internet, looking at the maps, are they hitting in that area and that? I mean, it creates a worry unto itself. And so just a little meter that you can say, hey, I am getting bombarded with 5G, or hey, and I should do something about it, or B, I'm sitting here and worrying if I'm getting bombarded, but I'm not. So quit the worry. I mean, that's what I liked about it. That was, Bob did the technical part, but the part that when they're talking about all of us being bombarded, I think it's nice to have a little piece of equipment that says, hey, are you? Or is your microwave leaking? Or, is something giving off your router? Like we definitely, after getting the meter, we shut down the Wi-Fi in the house. We ran Cat5 cables. Which we happen to have in the garage in that, but we looked at measured, and I think that most of the area that had it, the hotspot was off of the router. I think the transistor or something off of the router, there's something transmitting. But yeah, we unhooked all of our little Google Home devices and or even shutting the cell phones down at night when we're sleeping at night and trying to make it as RF clean as possible.
When I was planning the house in Italy, Cammy, Wi-Fi was always, the way you get internet is a big dish on the top of your house. But that was my only concern, was to have that then continuing. So I kind of had to accept that that's the only way you're going to get a service. But I did exactly the same, and everything's cabled. Every single room's got its own port. So I think moving forward, if you could plan a home, I wouldn't plan it with Wi-Fi. I'd plan it with cables.
Right. And I know money is different things to different people right now, but I thought that for $100 and what you can spend $100 on, how stupid you can spend it, to have like a peace of mind, just a peace of mind that you could even share with other people or take with you.
Yeah. Sharing with other people, showing people the differences.
What will it tell you?
Thing.
It tells you what waves, and Bob does. Gosh, Bob should like almost join in the show, but it shows the different wave, like the different radio waves, and that just picture them as waves. Some of them are big, 6 feet tall. It's the microwaves, the ones that get into.
If I'm putting it, because a bit layman's terms, if I'm walking around my house, can I see that maybe the baby's bedroom is more subject to 4 or 5G waves than my bedroom?
Yes.
And I should move. Yeah, that's...
Yes, that's exactly. Or you could say the baby's
you
room
could
is
go
getting
right
hit.
up to an outlet. You could pinpoint just a certain outlet that's malfunctioning. It'd be giving off a different... It's amazing. You go up to an outlet and it tells you there's an electric field being generated right by that outlet, even though there's no, there's no cord plugged in or anything like that. There's still a
leak outlet is right.
Power being leaked.
So yeah, we found a little bit of leak outlet. Again, they tested anything and everything that you could test in the house.
And it tells you what's dangerous and what's not in the little manual. It's not very big. It's small, but it'll tell you, EMF waves at this, this range and is dangerous.
I've got some
EF
questions
waves.
for you guys on this, right? Cammy and Zach, right? So I've been with Roxanne all this week, and shout out to Ian Adams. He's saying, is 5G going to kill us? And have you guys, and I said I'd ask you, but I was hardly there on Wednesday, and you guys were nattering, having a good old chain wag. So it wasn't time, but in terms of this, they've announced that there's this cobalt, vanadium, iron compound that's being, according to the QAnons, being put up around to shield this stuff. So my question, I know, is there some kind of magnetic compound that would apparently prevent the harmful effects of 5G frequency getting through to...
Well, you could... I believe you could soundproof. They call it. They'll call it a soundproofing. Bob was telling me about it yesterday, where it's kind of like making a Faraday cage, but you make 2 Faraday cages, and you run a current to both of them, and it creates an electromagnetic field around you that blocks out all radio frequencies and stuff like that. It's kind of like your own electromagnetic shielding.
He's asking if there's a special antidote or whatever that you could pre-take, like in Wild Wild West or the different shows that you watch before you get the radio. Again, you build up your thing, or poison. You build up the antidote in your system so you're able to take the poison. That throughout history they've done it that way. So I think the question is there something they could be taking? Probably, I'm sure that there is a concoction, or again, you can measure, and a tinfoil hat helps a lot. That's the funny thing about it. But for the people that,
only if it's grounded.
So
they could probably go home and jump on a rife machine, every other
Zach,
day.
you talked about a Faraday. This was the point. Maybe my ignorance, that I want you guys to help me. that's exactly my response, was to Faraday cage it. But in doing so, you wouldn't pick the signal up. You would protect yourself, but you negate the ability to use your phone, put simply.
Well, you could get an antenna.
Right, do you get me? So
have
your
an
phone
antenna
stops working.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if the QAnon guys are saying that all this badness is occurred, but don't worry, Donald Trump's guys are, or the White Knights are putting this coffee up. I love the double FE, by the way. It's double FE. It's everywhere, isn't it? Black swans, leveling the curve, it's everywhere, isn't it? But double FE and the magnetics as well. But to me, Zach, it didn't make sense, because if you're going to Faraday cage something, then you're not going to pick up the transmission, are you?
Oh, there's easy ways to get around that. So I don't think that.
Well, yeah, like your car is a Faraday cage, but since you have an antenna on the outside of the car connected to your receiver on the inside, you can get a reception.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as you can have little small ways for a transmission to get in. You wouldn't want to open a window or anything like that, but
now
you could get it to work.
Yeah.
From inside and still get your signals and stuff like that.
Who's got the spectrum out?
Yeah. Now, again, what's really kind of cool is again, that little meter tells you why you're sitting there, and half of these people that are listening to that broadcast, maybe even more than half, are at home wondering, am I getting zapped by 5G? And maybe some of them are, in which case at your house, again, you can just run some screening in that areas, find areas where it's heavy and not heavy and that, and do something about it. But instead of worrying or talking about like the antidotes or anything, look and see if it's a problem for you.
You're totally right, Cami. You know what? Even recently, people have contacted me saying, I have no idea if I have 5G or not. When I look at my phone, it says 5G, but people are telling me that there's this kind of 5G that's pre-rollout. So exactly, it would set some souls at ease.
A lot of souls at ease. And the other thing about it is like in these waves, and again, just picture a wave, and a wave being, a wave that's 6 foot tall versus waves that are millimeters taller, that right? Within the 5G, it's a spectrum, and it's a microwave spectrum that, again, has a very hazardous effect on you, but it's not the entire 5G spectrum. In other words, you could have 5G around you and not have that lethal spectrum in it. Now, I can't say that the other spectrums right around it are overly healthy for you, would be my guess. Any type of, bombardment with microwave waves to me would sound not so healthy, but they're just a very small range of what they're talking about. And it's not the whole 5G range. It's within the 5G range. It's just a little bitty bandwidth of it that if they activate. So again, it's very, very scary about them activating that bandwidth. It makes perfect. It's like putting yourself in a microwave. It makes perfect sense how scary it is. But instead of being in fear of it, spend $100, get a meter, and if you're getting hit with it, protect from it.
So, Cami, could a particular magnetic frequency prevent that certain specific bandwidth getting through to organic material? Or is that...
I don't know. I mean, are you saying create one around you, walk around with the magnetic field? It's much easier. I think not a magnetic field. I mean, you just need like aluminum or aluminium, copper screening. There's a lot of different things you can screen with.
Josh, do you know about this coffee stuff?
No more than what you've touched on.
I heard there's a little connection that a listener sent to me that I've been thinking about and wondering if I would ever have a use for it. Can I tell you?
Hell yeah.
Okay. I just brought it up in my text. Maybe this is somehow tied with Samoa from a while back. Cov Fifi. Okay, if you look at Samoan, Kafifi. Okay, Fifi plural means to get scared. And they just came out with this like national park coin with bats on it. And then they're saying that, in the mainstream media, they're making that bat connection. So Fifi plural the romanization Fifi to get scared. F-E-F-E. I
Weird.
should email this. It's just a little connection. I've yeah, because you're referring to the tweet that Trump did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they made this little coin. Gosh, I wish let me email this to myself and I'll send it to you.
That's a very, very beautiful Masonic encoded message, particularly if it's of Romanic origin. Then it makes real sense, especially if they're FE out all over the mainstream and Trump's announcing it. Then there's nothing more of a Masonic message than that. If FE means fear, it's a clear message, that is, to me, in a Masonic interpretation or Freemasonry way.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean anything on its own, but
No.
there's so many things coming at us in different directions.
But if you put your Dan Brown head on, that's exactly what it means. Do you know what I mean? That's
yeah.
But we've not got a plausible, easy. Oh yeah, that makes sense. I could set up certain magnetic frequencies that would impede. No,
everybody like a one-off. Everybody has. No, I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, with this. Yeah, I don't know. Thing for everybody. I did find something. This is taking it completely. Can I go off on a totally different tangent, or?
You're already on it, Cammy, aren't you?
All right, I
Keep
am.
going.
Of course.
Let's talk about the comet coming, and the Comet Atlas. Now, Comet Atlas coming. Comet Atlas is coming, and it's supposed to be by this time next month brighter than Venus in the sky. And some people saying the brightest thing besides the sun, or half of the size of the sun, or different things like that. But it took me on a couple of different tangents, and with that, and then we can come back to it where you guys want to. Number one was Atlas, because the name of it was Atlas, and Atlas had a couple of different things going. Number one, it had, let me see if I can find it, the acronym for what it stood for, and it was about, let me pull it up. It was about the place it was discovered. And
Atlas holds up the skies, doesn't he? The celestial
we're going to
globe.
talk about that. Yes.
Yeah, we're mugged off to think it's a ball at the Earth, but
we're going to hit. Yes.
I'm prematurely celestialating. Yeah.
That one I have on there. Atlas, first of all, the moniker is for the acronym Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System. So it's a warning, and it was named Atlas. The name of the place in Hawaii, that's what they call the whatever you want to call it, the center of Hawaii is named the Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System, and they named the comet in there. So it's a C2019, this new comet discovered in 2019. But with Atlas, it made you look into mythological Atlas, and the first thing I came up to when looking at Atlas, and I should almost share screens, but I'm just in Wikipedia. Atlas, I always thought held up the world on his shoulders, and he never held up the world on his shoulders. Then they went on to say he held up the celestial heavens or celestial sphere. But in the beginning, when it was written, he didn't hold up any sphere at all. He held up the heavens. And the myth was that he I'll read a little bit from it. Let me see if I can find the mythology. Yeah. Atlas and his brother Menelaus sided with the Titans in the war against the Olympians. The Titanomachy, I'm going to mispronounce a lot, and that I read about to the war. It's fascinating. When the Titans were defeated, many of them, including Menelaus, was confined to Tartarus. But Zeus condemned Atlas to stand at the western edge of Gaia and hold up the sky on his shoulders. So, in other words, he was told to go to the western edge of the world and hold up the sky, because apparently, I'm guessing that they probably shook the sky in their war and it needed to be held up there.
Where did they have the power with? Was that with Tartus, did you say?
Well, there was the war, and then in the war, the ones when the Titans were defeated, many of them were confined to Tartarus. Tartarus is hell. That's hell.
Yeah.
In Greek mythology, it's not Tartarian. Tartarus is the underworld. Now, it's not always, it's an interesting thing about the underworld. Again, it comes into play on it. But Atlas was condemned. Now, if you go into another, take it a little bit further, he has an encounter with Hercules, and basically Hercules instead built the two great pillars of Hercules to hold the sky away from the earth, liberating Atlas, much as he liberated Prometheus. So Atlas was liberated from holding the sky by Hercules building the pillars of
Two
Hercules.
pillars.
The two pillars
pillars.
The two great pillars of Hercules. Yes, we're going to get into my two pillars and that on there. On the western sky with the magnets, it helped with the things on it. So I thought that was just over the top fascinating. But then I got into where do comets, and when I got into the words now, where do comets come into this? Because we have the Comet Atlas, right? And it turns out the comets were very prevalent, and we think of them as the precursor of the bringers of doom, comets, if you think about it through history. And lo and behold, like everything else, we've learned that wrong too. In Greek mythology, Menippi and Menetoshi were daughters of Orion. After Orion was killed, they were brought up by their mother, and Athena taught them the art of weaving, and Aphrodite gave them beauty. Once their homeland, Aeonia, at the base of Mount Helicon, was struck by a plague, and the oracle of Apollo, Gortinius, when consulted, ordered the inhabitants to propitiate into the two Erinyes by the sacrifice of two maidens, who were to offer themselves to death on their own accord. Menippi and Menetoshi offered themselves. They thrice invoked the infernal gods and killed themselves in their scuttles. They did a terrible suicide. Persephone and Hades metamorphosed them into comets. So basically in Tartarus, Persephone and Hades took pity on them and said they saw the blood going in and did not take them into Tartarus. Instead, they metamorphosed them and turned them into comets. The Aeolians called these comets, or the maidens, the Coronides. Like this is Coronides or Koron. So Corona and the Coronas, or the Coronides, were the comets, the two sisters, the different comets in history, but they cleansed the plague. They sacrificed themselves to do it. So when we see the comet coming, and we do have Comet Atlas coming, is it a harbinger of death and doom, or is it historically really here to clean out where like the heavens are raining a plague or a doom on us, and they come when this happens to clear it? It's just interesting, they again sacrifice themselves and they come back throughout history. Now, I know a lot of people were looking at the Hopi and the blue Kachina and the red Kachina, but what's interesting about Comet Atlas is green.
Is it just, you mentioned Pleiades and is it just a single comet?
Is
it a raft of?
This is a single comet coming out of Orion right now, and placing in Orion, which would kind of put it with it. Now, your story of blue Kachina is a blue comet signaling the end of the world, but the sisters, the comets that would go with Atlas and with Greek history, would actually be the Cora, which I would think would be the Coronides, which would be the more appropriate comets for what we're looking at. And the maiden Coronides sacrifice themselves and bring goodness. They bring cleansing. They bring hope.
Oh,
just a different way of looking at it.
Well, I was going to say, historically, I think certainly from a mud flood point of view and a ancient history, they tend to be the harbingers of doom, either about to appear before plague, pestilence, or whatever, or appear, at the time. It's,
do they, being the harbinger of death, though, are they a harbinger? Are they bringing in the death? Because they don't tend to, they tend to like maybe appear like this again, I think was spotted in December, probably about the same time as the virus. Maybe the virus and whatever was raining down, maybe they're coming into existence to purify from it. So just
I'm saying
I'm not saying they don't. I'm just saying that you can read it both ways.
They certainly appear in a very correlatory way to major catastrophic events. Whether you would imply that they have some causation, I'm not. I'm saying it's interesting that we have historically major catastrophic events and comets linked together, and you're talking about a decent comet coming in. Are we talking like Halley's Comet size or better? Or because obviously the historical ones are, from what you can see, quite noticeable. I always remember being disappointed at not seeing Halley's Comet. Is all I remember of it. You know what I mean? Is this predicted, Cammy, to be something ecliptic event that's noticeable, or something you got to really look for?
No, this is supposed to be a month from now. It's supposed to be brighter than Venus in the night sky and possibly outshine the moon. So it's going to be something.
It's pretty big then.
Yeah, it's very big, and it's supposed to, at the end of next month is when it's, I think, the May 28th, I believe. I'd have to do it. I do hear what you're saying, and the badness of it and going. The interesting thing about the coronides is there's these sisters that are they are the goddesses over all of the other comets, which is interesting. But again, on the harbinger of death, are they bringing it, or are they bringing life from it and stopping it from being worse?
So you say coronites. There wouldn't happen to be 7 of these comets coming, would there?
No, these are the 2 sisters.
So and I'm just wondering where the 7 crowns from a apocalyptic point of view is.
Well, these are the daughters of Orion. So the comets are and they're also the goddesses of all of the other comets. And again, they were created when they sacrificed themselves, and they got metamorphosed into comets to stop the plague.
So just excuse my ignorance here, Cammy, right? So these comets, they come out of Orion on a cyclical basis.
This is a 6,000-year cyclical basis on this one. Right over 6,000 years.
Right. And we're on a spinning ball, are we? Get out of here. They keep imagine the coincidence that.
No, I don't know what the cyclical and the thing. It works flat just fine. It works very flat. If it's cyclical, works good on flat, because think of your comets as a filament working its way down.
Well, that makes sense for it to come out at the same place.
So if you have the energies coming, again, if you're putting with the sky, you can cleanse or you could harm. You could, it's just a different way of looking at it.
What I mean is, I'm being a bit geeky, but it's a big, on a flat circular motion above it, that's a big orbit, but it is cyclical with everything else. But to try and comprehend how every 6,000 years you could put that into a heliocentric model is
I can't do it. I can't do it on heliocentric.
No, that's what I mean. It's just, yeah, totally. That's what I mean.
Flat, it works nice. Yeah, everything works like a clock.
Cog it in, exactly. Yeah. But to put that into a heliocentric model and have a cyclical pattern within
it, it's just flying and that. Yeah, I long ago had to quit that. That breaks the brain.
With disturbing gravitational pulls as you whirl through that would interfere with that cycle. You know what I mean? Even in small amounts. It's just, sorry.
No, that was all right. And I just did the different. I thought it was fun looking at. There's a lot to look at. You can look at the War of the Titans, which again, fun to look at. Atlas through mythology. These are Menippi and Minotoshan, known as the coronides, and again the comets. So we'll get off of my tangent now. I'll go back to Rose, but it was on my mind. So
no, I love it, and it's so important to pay attention to this Greek mythology. I mean, immediately the first thing I noticed when you were explaining what Atlas stood for, they left out the I for impact, because there must be a reason why they want it to be Atlas. They want us to have this in our mind. So I'm going to look into this more and come up with my own ideas about what it could possibly mean. I also was thinking about how if we look at this on the macro scale, this comet coming in and what's going on in the world right now with this fake virus, they're inverting all this information and telling us, what's up is down. So if they're making it seem like the comet's a bad thing, then hey, I wouldn't be surprised if there were positive properties to it and they were hiding how to harness those potentially positive energies. And I think for all of us right now, if we just combat the fear and stay positive, energetically, we can all make such a big difference and just fight the ideas that the mainstream is trying to hit us with.
You're right, Rose. Positivity is the important thing. It's a celestial event. It's going to happen. It will happen again. We've just got to go through it. And I think the best way is exactly as you say,
with rose-colored glasses.
Yeah, nice.
Sorry.
So in 2018, there was another big green comet that came through. It was the Incredible Hulk. They called it the Hulk Comet because it was, green. The name of that one, the acronym was PANSTARR. Pan Star. So you think of the god Pan.
I've been to Pan's temple in Israel, by the way. Yeah. So Pan Star is another. I didn't look at that one. This one again, I just went on the tangent. And the main thing, the surprise or the reason I shared it with you was for that reason, Rose, that I always thought Atlas held up the world. And so it surprised the hell out of me that he went to the western edge, not just somewhere, but to the far western edge and held up the sky on the western edge. It was, I was like, really?
And what is it about the West that I always think about is that it a lot of times represents death. And so I'm just trying to think about what that might play into.
The setting
holding
sun.
up the sky, the death of holding up the sky, maybe bringing in this fake fantasy world of spinning globes. I'm trying to wrap my head around it in real time.
On the map magnetically, when we put that magnetic map on, the pole that is off of the chart between South America and Africa would be your westernmost point. So he would have been holding the sky up on that plot of land that would have to be there to finish the magnetic pattern. It would be hiding, holding up the sky there on the western edge. So it was like a very specific...
A completion idea.
And then again, so it's like, wait, he does that. And then going into the comets, that was the big surprise is I always thought comets were harbingers of death. And yet here's the story that these maidens sacrificed themselves and the comets saved the world. So it's like, what, it's like everything is either changed or I've learned it all wrong.
I thought it was really neat that you were telling me the Atlas Mountains were in mythology is actually Atlas. He was that big.
He was that big.
When he laid down, he made the mountain range.
If you look at what Stellium 7 is, or 777 is doing, and the Titans and the big creatures and the mountain that he thinks is an elephant or again looking at it, Atlas. The rest of the story is so he was given reprieve by Hercules, but when he did die, he stretched out, and where he stretched out and died, that is the Atlas Mountains, and they're named for that Atlas, the Titan, the god. So yeah, it makes you want to send Mike there and look for organs, or I know that I went to Google Earth and started looking at the map and looking. There are a lot of ways that you can see him laying there.
I think I'm down with a lot of stuff, Cammy, but intestinal and vagina caves, not for me.
not doing that one, Adam.
No, I'm not swallowing that. I'm afraid.
I'm not ruling it out. Yeah, you don't have to. I'm not ruling it out. I keep an open mind on it, and I certainly wouldn't push it as a fact, just like I wouldn't push it as a lie. It's a definite area of curiosity, and you know what? Those are the areas I like the best. Yeah, those are the areas I like the best, is where you don't know quite where it fits in yet. So
if there were giant, huge trees and they were cut down so perfectly flat in some places, you would think there would have to be some big people doing it. I don't know. It's just neat to think about that. At one time, there could have been something that big walking around on this plane.
Avatar.
Well, if you're
and
looking
get
at
big
too,
people to take down big trees.
With the giant titans or whatever, with the Atlas, the gods, that would have put him again to hold up the sky. You figure he's going to be over 2,000 miles tall, and then to think that the Atlas mountains are like 2,800 miles across. But again, to hold up the sky on his shoulder, if you're going to make that real. Now, come on, Adam. I think it's fun to think about.
I've no problem with it, and as a flat earther, somebody used to think the world was a ball. I'm quite happy with being proved wrong. But that without any other than it's a bit like looking at clouds. I can see all sorts of stuff, and some of it looks really fucking realistic, just exactly what I'm imagining. But without any other evidence other than its supposed reality to what I'm imagining, I'll reserve judgment and probably not put too much sway in that.
No worries. I think Rose.
Well, I wouldn't do a hate video, Cammy, about it. You know, I wouldn't.
I just think it's fascinating. And again, it's a curiosity and a more learning. Again, it catches the attention more than anything because of the fact that we learned it wrong.
Hey, don't get me wrong. I've seen some caves that look just like vaginas, but that doesn't. That's the most realistic one. I mean, full everything, all the detail. And you think, wow, could that really be a cave like that? But I think, like I say, it's like looking at clouds. And some of the ones that you're telling me is an elephant, I'm sorry, I'm not having that. I'm not having half of them. You know what I mean?
I'm not ruling that one out. I think what he has been doing there is fascinating. I'm definitely, again, not ruling out that in different times when maybe, again, it was a bigger pattern than we have right now, a higher sky and you don't know. You don't know how big.
What do you think of the ones where there's like some of the guys that are looking at Google Earth images of massive geographic areas and saying it's a dragon or it's this, that, and the other? And you're talking the size of a state in the the US sort of thing. And
right,
some of those, I think, it's like looking at clouds again for me. I
possibly, but
images.
you don't know at this point. It's a curiosity that needs to be looked into further, not affirmed or denied at this point. It's a curiosity. I don't rule it out as a possibility. I really don't. I certainly, again, would not put my hatch mark and say for sure this is what it's like. But I think it bears a lot more looking into. And I know that the way that we've taught about rocks and geology and how it works, and just working as a gemologist for over 30 years and watching in laboratory what we can do in that. I know things don't work the way that we've been taught. And so again, keep the mind open and don't automatically say that's absurd. Number one thing I've learned, I remember at the beginning or in the first year of Flat Earth, the first like 15 or 18 months, you would have thought I would have known there. Robert Bassano was on there talking about satelloons and the satellites being balloons. And I thought that was the stupidest, even within it, it's like, that's absurd. So again, the more I learn, the more I learn to investigate more before saying, I don't think so.
I'm not saying it.
Josh, you don't have to bite your tongue and you don't have to believe it either.
I've just got crystal clitoris in my mind now.
Astral Thief says he's seen some vaginas that look like caves, and that was the joke. That was the joke that I was biting my tongue. I even unmuted to say it, but didn't want to. So I've got an ex-wife that works the exact opposite of that analogy.
That's classic. A classic.
I don't want to take away from the cave idea, but since you mentioned Robert Bassano, I just love the story about him calling a NASA employee and just having that great conversation. We did an episode with him. It was number 13.
Oh, that phone call was hysterical. We were watching it when it came out the first time out in the hot tub, and I almost wet the hot tub. I was laughing so hard. He has got balls, that man.
And a great voice too, like just charisma. Just how could you not want to talk to him?
Right. Now, for those...
Josh, he was part of the Iron Realm technical help desk. So you see Robert Bassano got back up, so we gave him a little handout, mate. So he got back up via OBS, and his little logo was via the Iron Realm technical help desk. You can contact that at ironrealmmedia@gmail.com, I think.
Yeah, if you'd like some logo work done, we'll be happy to see what we can throw together.
Yeah. Somebody fiddle with your sound desk. It's always good. Sorry.
Yeah, you have become quite the artist with those logos, Adam, I must say.
I've been having some fun with Rox and Rich on there. I got one of those little app character creators, so been sticking them in the Matrix and stuff.
Did you see that, guys? Yesterday.
Wow. I mean, I'm happy for you to play it on the grounds, actually, that all of you here, all of you in chat. Look, Rox we've taught Flat Earth for 4 years. Whatever we're going through now is just like fucked up. Doesn't matter who's right, who's wrong. But over there, we're trying to have a little bit of fun. And as you'll hear, I can't sing for shit. But I'd encourage anybody, if they want to go on live or recorded like I've done, they've got Wokey Karaoke over there. It'll be before us on a Friday night. And Walter, I fully expect you to be rocking up and smashing the joint.
That sounds awesome.
And Rose, yeah, I heard a little bit on Wednesday, so I know you're another karaoke addict.
Yeah. Hell yeah, I love that idea.
I love that. I want to listen to you guys. I can't wait. Big fan. Not a singer, but a big fan.
Come on, Josh, play mine.
An audience.
Let's get it out of the way, because it was bad enough on Roxas, but I do want to play it, because it was like, what song should I play? And we'd been away for so long, and Rich kind of mentioned, I was chatting with him, and there was nothing better than Friday I'm in Love, because I've missed these chats, guys. It's seemed longer than a month.
It did seem longer than a month. But again, it was a pretty eventful month.
Yeah, been on lockdown half of it.
So you got a link for this, Adam?
It's in the pre-show on Skype.
Oh.
See, is that what that was? The video you posted in there?
Yeah.
Because I downloaded it, was trying to watch it, but I didn't have the sound turned up because I was at work, so I didn't watch very much of it because I think I got the gist of it, but didn't realize there was audio beyond. I don't know.
Yeah, that's probably not a bad thing when you hear the audio, Josh. Yeah, so it's Friday I'm in Love by The Cure.
Oh, nice.
All right.
Let's hope we don't get a copyright strike.
Oh, you won't with this. It's absolutely nothing near the original.
All right, now I gotta wait for it to download here.
I don't care if Monday's blue, Tuesday gray and Wednesday too. Thursday, I don't care about you, it's Friday, I'm in love. Monday, you can fall apart. Tuesday, Wednesday, break my heart. Oh, Thursday doesn't even start, it's Friday, I'm in love. Saturday, wait, and Sundays always come too late, but Friday never hesitates. I don't care if Monday's black, Tuesday, Wednesday, heart attack, Thursday, never looking back. It's Friday, I'm in love.
This is so good. I'm smiling from ear to ear.
It's a bit quiet, Josh. It started out all right. Monday, you can hold your head. Tuesday, Wednesday, stay in bed. Or Thursday, watch the walls instead. It's Friday, I'm in love. Saturday, wait. The Sunday always comes too late. The Friday never hesitates. Dressed up to the eyes, it's a wonderful surprise to see your shoes and your spirits right. Throwing up for your foe, just smiling the sound as the sleek and the chic is spinning round and round. Always take a big bite, it's a gorgeous sight to see you eat in the middle of the night. You can never get enough of this stuff. It's Friday. I don't care if Monday's blue, Tuesday gray and Wednesday too. Thursday, I don't care about you. It's Friday, I'm in love. Monday, you can fall apart. A Tuesday, Wednesday, break my heart. Oh, Thursday doesn't even start. It's Friday, I'm in love. Too much wine at the end.
This is what will heal the world. This is how we all should be connecting through music and just good vibes. Thank you for that.
Rose, I implore you all, shout out to Roxanne. Yeah, the Really Woke Show.
Roxanne.
Guys, get your own out there. We really want to share it and put a smile on all our faces.
That's
I even saw Conspiracy Cats turn up in the chat tonight. So I've shouted them out. And Travis, I can see you there in our chat. Mate, you're a legend. Come on. As I said, you must have an album you can share with us. So, yeah. As you say, Rose, let's put a smile on folks' faces.
Oh, absolutely. No, I think that if we were all doing karaoke together, like that would just generate so much positivity, everyone connecting over just the positive feelings. It's just if you weren't smiling during that recording, then I just give you some extra good vibes and hope give you hope.
Well said, Rose.
I am so glad you joined us tonight, Rose. This is your debut too.
Yes.
You've not been
for inviting me
like anywhere. You've been mentioned. Anybody that listens to Crow or Jason has heard your name bantied about often. So thank you so much.
I try not to drive them nuts. I correct them on words that don't exist. I'm wondering if anybody else notices that literally words are made up sometimes. And they're always saying words have meaning and then make up a word.
So you said that when you were first saw the lunar wave, you were just trying to look for UFOs?
Yeah, I guess maybe my screen was smudged or something, and I didn't really know what I was looking for. It is beyond anything I ever could have imagined. You know, it looks so precise and digital, and just the way it moves across. I didn't get it. I didn't see it at first. I wasn't focusing on something that was moving across. I needed it to be explained.
Were you a big...
And then I noticed it. I was like, whoa, what could that be?
Were you a big UFO gal before then, before you sort of delved into this whole
I have not
reality?
Been lucky with, I've never seen anything that made me think, oh, you know, what is that? So I haven't had a personal experience, but I've always been open to the idea of aliens until obviously we looked into it, and it's all part of the agenda.
Damn it, even aliens were misdescribed.
I just don't even think that they exist the way that any idea of like a green little man, I actually never really thought that that would be possible. Like, what are the chances that some other being based on the mainstream idea of another living organism, what would be the chance that it would have like two eyes, you know, the ears on the side of the face and on the side of the head? I always thought it just was a little bit too fantasy-ish.
So Astral Thief in chat says they love the Yummy Mummy episode.
The Yummy Mummy episode?
Mm-hmm. That's what it says in chat.
Oh my gosh, what could that be referring to? Yummy Mummy.
The Yummy Mummy.
Stumped.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe I got stumped right from the get-go. Oh my God, I just don't know. What could he be? Help me out here. Give me another hint.
Come on, we need more Astral Thief.
Hit me with something else.
Rose, do you have any theory?
I'm thinking like children words, Disney episode, or something like that.
Rose, have you had any theater training?
Yes. Yeah. I was an actor before this.
I could hear it in your voice.
I love acting. I've done some things that are, pretty embarrassing. I mean, I had to get out of that world because it was literally retarded. I think I mentioned some stuff in the past, but I did a play once, and it was while I was on a ketamine trial, and I don't really remember it.
Well, from what I've seen,
there'll be pharmacological reasons for that. Yeah.
Pardon?
I love that, Reg. That's brilliant. That's how to make a chemist laugh. Yes.
I had so many monologues, 14-hour days. It was, and then once a week I was going in and getting an injection. And I did a reality show, like pilot, that didn't get picked up, thank goodness. And I was on Let's Make a Deal. That was fun with Wayne.
What was
Brady.
the reality show that didn't get picked up?
Oh, goodness gracious. Okay.
Okay.
It was called, wait, hold on. You guys, I'm sorry. The Disney episode, was that the one he was referring to? Because that's killing me right now. Did we ever get that figured out?
There's the one just a few weeks back. It says a few weeks back.
Amanda?
A few weeks back.
Just a few weeks back.
Her name is Amanda.
Her name is Amanda.
Are you talking about Glowbusters had Amanda on? You're getting confused, I think, right? Right, Cammy?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, you're thinking of Glowbusters.
Oh my gosh! No wonder you did.
At least I knew the source, right? At least I got it right.
Hey,
stump her. She stumped you.
Hey, when we decided to play Stump Rose, we didn't decide to play fair. I mean, nobody said nobody said that it was going to be for one of your shows.
Right. So it's a little bit slow in the uptake, and then I just had to get it. Okay, good. I'm glad I brought it up again. Okay, now what were we talking about? Now we can move on. Just had to settle that.
Yeah, that was.
Hey, you get a ding ding
ding.
You get a win for that one, Rose. You get a point.
Thank you. Yeah,
Thank
everybody
you.
check out Glowbusters. Amanda is so okay. I'm trying not to speak. Do you guys keep it PG? I don't know how else to say she's the shit, right? Like
that works.
Yeah, that works.
That works good.
We are
All right.
NC-17 around here.
Oh, okay. Yay. All right. Moving on.
Yeah, where the hell were we?
I know I backtracked. My bad.
Yeah, I
You were
have a
talking about your
theater
reality TV
That's
show.
right.
Oh, yeah, no wonder I tried to get away from that topic. All right. So it was on the Universal backlot. And the interesting thing is that because I use a wheelchair, I couldn't take the actor tram to the scene. So I got a pass to drive my van onto it. And in the backlot, there's like a tram ride that takes you through, and it used to go by like the Jaws and the Psycho House and the ape, the big gorilla that burned down. And I just remember being on that little ride when I was a kid. And so I'm trying to get to the scene, and I got stuck behind the tram ride. And I just remember thinking, like, what the hell? Like, I can't believe I'm in this situation. And there's no, what's the word? wheelchair access really on the back lot because it's not a real town. So why the hell would they even care to put it there? So it was like constantly like rolling around and like trying to find places. And also, since it's not a real town, it's really, really, really dirty. And because no one ever cleans the streets. So my hands became black almost immediately. And so the PAs kept coming up to me and with baby wipes and alcohol wipes and wiping my hands. But okay, so it was like called Singletown, and they were actually going to build a town and we were going to live there. And it was for people that were ready to settle down and find love and actually get married. And there were people from every stereotype, like the gay guy, the black guy. There was me, the girl in the wheelchair. There was the little person. And, you know, like the little person and I were like trying to avoid each other because we wanted to be like, oh, we don't want people to think that we're going to talk to each other just because we're both like have weird stuff about us. But then like we couldn't help but gravitate towards each other because it's like, oh my gosh, this place is insane. I'm like, oh, you get it. This is so crazy. They should just turn the cameras around and actually focus on the people. Because instead of what they were telling us to do, let me just tell you this positive thing. This is what I came out of, because obviously this whole world is so screwed up and I have no respect for it, had to leave it. But here's the positive thing. I thought that day I was going to show up and be surrounded by idiots. I thought I may be surrounded by a bunch of like people that, you know, couldn't think straight. You know, I was just thinking about all the reality TV I had seen up until then. And guess what, guys? I couldn't have been more wrong. Like, think about it. These people have to like wake up at 7 a.m. and like be somewhere at 7 a.m. Like these people have drive and they like, you know, got their crap together and moved from whatever place to go there. And they're just confused. They got their intentions in the wrong direction. I'm telling you, but they've got brains. Like one guy, he like dropped everything from being a physiologist, and another person had like a master's in piano. So they have like brains, but they're just doing what is instructed. And what they do is they instruct you to act like a retard and just focus on things that are totally on the surface and that don't matter. Behind the camera, everyone was having these great conversations. So they screwed up. If they've just flipped the camera around and not given instructions, it could have been interesting. So that's that.
Yeah, but that wouldn't have been the message that they wanted to get across, right?
Exactly. It just feels wrong to just dumb yourself down. And I couldn't take it. And I think a lot of the people couldn't either. You know? So I was just happy that to just see that, you know, there was some humanity going on, and that part of the world, it's all, none of these people are ever going to make it through, because we know that the people who make it through, like the A-list celebrities, the people that they're trying to be, they're never going to be them because they're not, you know, part of the club. And it's really sad looking back on it. I wish I could tell them all to like listen to all of our content over here in this part of the world of the internet and put their intentions in a more useful area.
You know what I think would be?
They wouldn't want to be anywhere near those people.
That's what I was getting ready to say, Zach. What I think would be far more of an entertaining reality show, as if I would ever watch a effing reality show, but is to turn that camera around. I want to follow the guy. I want a day in the life, 6 months of a day in the life of the jackhole that thought that reality show, where you have the stereotypical gay guy, the stereotypical black guy, and you're just trying to just fill all these check boxes and think that that's going to be a hit television show. I want to see what that guy's life is like.
Well, they're just copying Bernie's. They're trying to compartmentalize different groups and appeal to the quote unquote leader of each individual group. So if you send the same message out to the person with a Jufro and a person with an Afro and a person who, you know, shaves their head to make like a statement in solidarity with someone who did chemo, you know, it's just, if you're sending the same message out to all these different places, they, in the aggregate, just create this feeling among everyone that they think is real when it's not. So I think it's all part of the programming. I think it's planned and there's a reason for it. I love the gross incompetence theory, but based on everything I know, I think there are people that are controlling this shit.
Oh yeah. If you have to go out in society and have to act a certain way, not the way that you feel inside, then there's something wrong. You know, inside, for most people are inherently good.
Yeah.
But to go out and think that I have to think a certain way because society tells me that, you know, when that happens in your head, you're like, hey, I'm just going to do this because of this. It's not an actual feeling. It's not like a normal reaction or response that you would have. You have to act. That should click in people's heads eventually that, hey, what am I doing? I'm not being myself. I'm acting.
Absolutely. I think that I love acting because it's a chance to go and be dramatic and get out your emotions and, you know, just put out when everyone knows it's fake, then it's fun. You know, hey, everyone, let's play an acting game. I'm all about that. But deceiving the masses, it kills me. It hurts my soul. I can't be a part of it, can't condone it, can't pretend to be cool with it.
Well, yeah, it's like you do it and then you can't even talk about it. You know, you just act this way because this is the way society tells you to act. But we can't talk about it because that makes it weird. And that's not politically correct.
That reminds me of something. Okay, I figured something out. When I was 12, there was one of those little carnivals. There was a hypnotist there. And the hypnotist started off with all of, I would say 20 people. And the first trick, what they did is they put everyone to sleep and they would tap people on the shoulder and make them go back to the crowd. So I realized that they were just letting the people that fell asleep stay on the stage because they're like, all right, these people are willing to stay with it. And so I didn't catch on. So I got tapped on the shoulder, but I was watching like, oh, that was the thing. If they just play along. So I think also when people are auditioning for these little roles that are not really going to amount to anything, but still impact us so much. I know that in the mainstream, these reality shows are freaking everywhere now. And they're impacting people so much. So when the people are going to do the audition, like when I auditioned for I sent in a video for Real World, I went out of my way to be like, I like to manipulate and maybe I could pull the strings around the house because I knew that they were looking for that. You know, I wanted to get picked. I also tried out for American Idol. I was just curious to see the process. That's another thing. Can I tell you about American Idol real quick?
Oh yeah.
They make you go through 3 or 4 rounds with producers, and every round when they tell people that they're going to Hollywood, so these people are told that they're good enough to go to quote unquote Hollywood. So by the time they meet the celebrities, everybody has been told that they're awesome. So isn't it so sad that at that moment when they're in front of these people that they idolize, they're like, you are absolutely horrible. That's they've been programmed to believe that they're good, and so if anyone was wondering, that's why they act surprised. It's like, why do these people think that they're gonna win?
They were just told they were amazing
3 times
and great.
But I just sang metal because I had to get back to work, so I just didn't want to get picked, so I did Manowar.
Nice.
That is nice.
Die for metal. It's funny rolling around and everyone's like, ooh, ooh, and it's like, okay, they're doing Mariah Carey.
Watch me, I can trick my voice for 3 minutes. That's cool, right?
Everyone was doing Celine Dion, Mariah Carey, and Whitney Houston.
Just gotta.
Was the none of the Cure?
Oh no. I wish.
I almost played it.
Anything other than 8 hours. Oh, also another deception. Poor people. For 8 hours when you're waiting, they make you scream at a camera, "Welcome to LA." You know, this is American Idol, and I'm like, you idiots! You're gonna lose your freaking voices. So I was just lip syncing with "Welcome."
La 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 la. In between.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to I don't mean to increase any disdain for humanity. Stories, like I said.
This is so fun because you're always behind the scenes and you're always so quiet, and it's always so fun to see you in chat. But it's fun to get to know you because you're not shy. You're not a for being behind the scenes. It's not like you're really an introvert at all. And I don't know, I'm enjoying the show a lot.
Thanks, Cami. No,
I really am too.
I am not an introvert. I am an extrovert.
I'm liking it.
But I totally respect good work. I mean, people do ask, like, why aren't you on Crow 777 radio shows? And it's just, guys, come on, you know the vibe. The vibe is so fucking magical. Sorry. Like, I just think that I don't want to infringe on it. I mean, I'm definitely not afraid to talk at any time, but that's the beauty of this community, is that I don't feel like I'm silenced at all. You know, there's always so many opportunities to share and talk to people. Isn't it awesome?
It really is.
I should look at the chat, but I would just like kind of say, please hold, because if I look at the chat, I will not be able to talk.
Yeah, we have a hard time with that around here too. In fact, John Savage is always quick to point out just how little attention we're paying because we're busy looking at chat.
I'm obsessed and in love with everybody in the chat, and I don't even know how to express it.
If there's a 3-second gap, Savage will mention the chat and how we need to stop looking at it.
Yep. Any pregnant pause, it's usually the chat.
Get in trouble a lot, Rose. Savage decided to chicken out today. Yeah, we're gonna say chicken out, Savage. No. But yeah, we're in trouble a lot, but we like it a lot in the laid back. I can definitely, more than anybody in the world, feel like a kindred to what you're saying as far as with Glowbusters and Bob and the big audience, and loving being behind the scenes and coming up with the ideas, but not wanting to spoil the spell, or not the spell, but the magic.
Yeah, I mean, it's the back and forth, the way okay, since I get to see the preparation for it, I cannot conceive of a better way for it to be presented, you know. And I just have so much energy, and I feel very impulsive at times, and I just love the way it's so even, and you can kind of just listen to it and take it in. And so the one-on-one interactions are really special to me, because I like focusing on individuals and going back and forth like that.
Well, it's a great show, and it's neat the way that you do it in transcripts, scripts, and that you do a lot further. I do not do transcripts on the Glowbuster show, but I have a lot of fun during the week looking for different stories and things to bring up in that. So I still feel like I'm a big part of it, but it's, again, really fun being behind the scenes on that. It's got its own special charm.
Yeah, I think that what we do is so important, and I just love being the glue that brings people together, finding people to be on the show and looking at information and helping to vet out material. People send Crow so much stuff, so if he sends something to me and I can just at least determine that it's a no, you know, then it just saves a lot of time. So yeah, I love helping in whatever way I can, and I'm always looking for different ways that I can contribute. And it's been so awesome that I've been able to decrease my other job a little bit more and more here and there. Because I have to actually work in an hour at 8 my time, unfortunately.
Oh, what are you doing with your other job, Rose? Or is that private, or?
Oh, I don't think that there's any reason it should be private. Okay, this is another thing, mainstream. Like, yeah, I just, for the record, I am like one of those, my family is absolutely totally mainstream. My stepmom, who is like my mom, and I love her so much, she is on the Hallmark Channel. Well, right now she's not, because those people are like all at home, like being scared separately and not doing television right now, those shows. But yeah, she's on the Home and Family Channel as a garden expert. And bless her heart, she just wants to teach people about gardening and how to self-sustain with food. So thank goodness, right? I mean, of all the things, what if she was into fashion or something? Like, I don't know how if that was her thing, or if it was about something like completely meaningless, but actually, at least it's plants, right? Nature, thank goodness. But I've tried to send her different information about spagyrics and also medical cannabis. And that's the thing, is like in California, medical cannabis is totally legal. It's not even meant, it's recreational, but they won't touch it because Hallmark is just very specific about their message. Ugh.
Yeah.
But so yeah, my job is that I do her social media.
Madness.
I do her social media on Facebook. She has like 200 and she's almost 300. What is it? It's between 200 and 300,000 followers. So, you know, she just like posts about flowers. And there's a lot of people from India, and I also respond in Spanish from South America. And so I love Shirley because she has such a positive attitude. And if I could think of any attribute that I want to like, that helps me is just, you know, loving people and helping people. And even though it's like mainstream television, I'm totally against all that. At least it's plants, or else I wouldn't be able to do it.
I think that's wonderful. And again, just being mainstream does not make you a bad person. Not awake is not, and that's again Zach's to deal with the choices in that. Remember, these are our mothers, brothers, sisters, neighbors, and that they're people. And overall, people are good.
We were all lulled to sleep. That's just the nature of it. That's some
exactly,
and we're all still waking up. I don't think it's a process that's completed where we're all woke, but I think we are all in the process. And I'm so lucky.
She was so good to me. Like coming in, you know, not being my actual mom, but when she married my dad, she was. And by the way, like I have my real mom is there too. Like that's what I'm saying is I'm very lucky that I had 4 awesome parents that were truly good to me. I was a rebellious teenager for no reason.
Same. Yeah.
Same. And it's funny, justice wasn't done. I have a great teenager. I think it skips a generation.
See, it must. And I've always heard, you know, the sins of the father are then, you know, visited upon the son, and feared for my kid, because if he turned out, you know,
half as bad as you, your hands were going to be overly full. And yeah, you were prepped. It didn't happen.
God, I could not, I did not, I wouldn't even be able to handle a kid that was like me as a kid. I wouldn't know what to do.
Exactly. So the universe didn't bother.
Exactly. I also, I just don't, I would want, if my child just wasn't like me, you know, what if they didn't want to talk to me? You know, the teenage years, I just be like, what are you thinking? You know? Yeah, that would be really rough. So I didn't get that. I didn't get the mom gene, but I have totally the Uncle Fester gene. And my best friend in Hawaii has a daughter, and her name is Sienna, and I love her. And by the way, what's going on the island of Kauai is absolutely crazy. It is its own little petri dish. That's a whole other story. But I told her daughter that the reason I am in a wheelchair is because I didn't listen to my mommy.
Oh my God, MK Ultra, the poor little child.
Hey, Rose.
Yeah.
Bob is here with breaking. We have breaking news from my Coronides tab that I left up when I was reading earlier, and he said the name Coronides was associated with the Greek words coronis, which is curving one or comet, and also corone, the shuttle, and crow. That's why that's the breaking news. It's just Coronis is crow.
That's right. I saw the crow reference there. I didn't want to say anything, you know.
Well, leave it to Bob. I just
forwarded in the link.
Leave it to Bob. He brought it up in the background way.
Thanks, Bob. Yeah, you guys, I wish that did you know that I didn't ever watch Glowbusters until after I went to the Flat Earth Conference?
No, I watched Crow. I loved meeting you, Rose. I loved meeting you. Your energy is off of the charts.
That's why I went. That's why I had to go watch. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to I have to ingest this material now. And I mean, yes. So I just feel a little bit late. I also didn't meet Karen, and she was at Shooting the Moon, so that was totally retarded. I just did not. I was just following Jason. And now I feel like the next time that we can all be together, I'm going to literally explode and be everywhere.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
definitely. You were, I mean, I see you I never saw you in the chats before, and I see you now. And again, meeting you, it was an instant connection for me. It was a completely instant, like a jolt of energy that you get when you meet somebody that's just kindred.
Me too.
I love her. I love her.
I love you so much. And you know who I also love? Dave Marsh. And
Dave Marsh, yes.
And okay, so let me tell you this. A long, long time ago, when Jason and I still lived in Baton Rouge, Dave Marsh contacted us, or I contacted him, and I was like, oh, we got to get you guys talking on Skype. And they talked on Skype, and then nothing happened. And then nobody told me that there was like a reason for it. I just asked Dave, and he was like, it just never came to fruition. And I saw him, and then we got him on the show, and I was like, gosh, that was easy. And then I was just like, yeah, it just reinforces that I need to be in control of like helping people not forget about each other.
It is, and a lot of the times, yeah.
That back burner is a hard thing to get things off of sometimes. It's good to have a rose around.
Well, whilst we're on the subject of Dave Marsh, don't know if people are aware what he did, probably a week or two ago, but
yes,
Dave released for everybody his huge catalogue.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Yes.
Yes. That is so wonderful. What a labor of love, right?
Yeah, amazing. I've got it. But yeah, I don't know if we've got a link for it anywhere. I think it was you, Josh, wasn't it, that shared it? Or
yeah, I still didn't download it, but I did share it. Yeah.
My eyeball is twitching right now because if I was like set up at my other workstation and in the chat, I would be grabbing it.
Right. See, my issue is I left a 2 terabyte drive at home ready to do stuff like this with. I thought I was bringing it with me, but apparently not. And when I checked, it is sitting on the desk. So, yay me.
My issue is I can't remember where the hell I shared it.
Yeah, it's where is it? Oh.
I want to say Skype.
I think it is.
Dave Marsh is another karaoke singer.
The Skype.
Yeah, and he plays the guitar.
Did you guys know that?
You should check out his stuff on YouTube.
He's incredible.
Yeah. And the photography. And also, I'm so happy that Crow put out episode 199.5. I made that happen, actually, because there was a little bit of confusion about blurred stars and the use of a P900 and P1000.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm glad that they put that out there, and Dave was fully aware of that. And then also, just while I'm here, since I'm on the show, I'm going to say that I am not able to disprove Crow's theory at all that the moon is see-through, but I'm with Dave that the moon is not see-through. I'm not saying it's a rock in space. We don't know, but I just haven't seen any evidence that it's actually see-through. So I would just encourage everyone to try and, do what Crow is recommending, which is try and film the moon close to a new moon and prove one of us wrong or right.
And more than anything, form your own opinions. Don't assume somebody else's, or don't. And even within like Rose or me and Bob or Jason and that, everybody has got their own to give. It doesn't happen in groups. I mean,
we all don't have to agree with each other, and that's why I like pointing out that we. So I just say that I'm stating because that was just something that was on my mind a lot. So I just want more information because we just don't know. So if it's see-through, I am going to freak out.
Now, see,
I'm ready for it to be see-through. I just haven't seen proof yet.
I've seen some footage and things and seen things myself that lead me to believe that more often than not that what people see as stars through the moon are more the occultation that Cammie has talked about in the past.
Right. Now, see, the fun thing is, Walt, is that if the firmament functions the way I think it does as a hologram emitter, as a natural one, again, that was like the little miroscope I had, Rose, that if the firmament is as destroyed throughout mythology and any type of culture, a vault of looking glass, it would be a natural hologram emitter that on the skies, guess what? The moon would be see-through, and it would not be see-through. Everybody would be right, because at one layer, it would be solid in the firmament, but it would be holographing down where it would really appear transparent at times.
Right on.
And yet,
Kumbaya. We're
and
all
yet still
right.
be
How often
very
does that
solid.
happen?
Yeah.
Wouldn't we
Love
see
it.
more Islamic star and crest type images then? A more frequency.
Why more frequency? Or
Well, if it's a rendering of different layers in terms of that, I think I refer to it in that sense because it obviously has historical sightings. It would imply then that there's additional factors that allow the point where the moon does appear to be see-through, as opposed to it being just layers that are always visible, so the moon would appear to be see-through.
I think the see-through is a combination of two things. Number one, I think, again, if the moon is fluorescent, which is natural lighting, so it makes the most sense, but if it's fluorescent, you're going to have hyperfluorescent crystals that could explain what some people are seeing. Now, the ones that are actually moving in that, the conditions could make it that you could see through it at certain angles more so than others if you're looking at a hologram of the image. But I don't see it as layers as much as what you're seeing.
Wow.
Oops. And with that, I have dinner ready, by the way. This has been fabulous. I have been talking and doing this outright grilling. We have Italian chicken and French potatoes. So if you are in my house, Zach, Bob, dinner is served. Beans, we got it all. Yay! I just got a yay from my head.
Bon appetit, or in Dutch, eet smakelijk. Why is that funny?
I love
Shalom.
it. No, it was awesome. I was trying to get there.
Was that ace?
Eet smakelijk. EETSMAKELIJK. I love that about Dutch. Why would there be a J there? Why?
Indeed.
Maybe it's for Josh. Who knows?
Might as well be. No, I wasn't
the
sure.
J's to give you a chance.
Go ahead.
Right.
Adam, what were you
So
saying?
I thought the J's are to give you a chance to get a bit of phlegm up, aren't they, when you're speaking Dutch? So it's
Well, if I am pronouncing it correctly, it is silent. It's not like a G like gezellig. Gezellig is a really cool word because there's not really an English translation for it. It just kind of means a chill, cool vibe, like of cozy.
Where's Alwyn
I'm
when
nodding
you
like
need
you can
him?
see me, but I'm just like, yeah, like we're all feeling it right now. It's like heel gezellig up in here. We're all feeling it.
I'll check with Alwyn tomorrow. Say it again, Rose. How do you say it? A.
How do I say like bon appetit in Dutch?
Yeah.
Okay, like hold on. Tell me if anyone in the chat, because I know you guys are pros at looking at the chat. Just tell me if anyone says I'm saying it wrong in Dutch. But it's eet smakelijk. Eet smakelijk. Like ate as in I ate something. That's how you can pronounce it. Eet smakelijk. Smock, like you're wearing a smock. Elik. Eet smakelijk. Eet smakelijk. Oh my God, I hope I got that right.
I'm on it tomorrow. I'll jump in Alwyn's chat tomorrow and I'll get him to pronunciate or enunciate however a Dutchman should. So we'll get that.
Or you could say, or if you wanted to, here, I thought of something with the ch, all right? Because I love the right? The goed genieten, like good, enjoy it, goed genieten.
So you're getting a bit of
Let's
phlegm up
say that
already.
right. Cameron, you're still here? I thought you were eating.
I am. It was a spitting while eating, but the different language in that. But yep, in the background. I'm feeding
Okay,
girl
cool.
here.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if you're leaving or if you're just muting yourself. Cool. All
Nope,
right.
I just managed to put plates, for the guys in the house that were getting hungry. So I think everybody's good now.
I think she learned how to leave from John Savage.
7 times.
Yeah.
I don't think I would do that. I don't think I would do it here, but I did master the art of just like leaving social events randomly and not saying goodbye. It's really easy and nobody like really, people aren't going to feel that bad, I think it's a good tactic sometimes. But now as I'm saying it, I'm feeling really guilty. Maybe I shouldn't have even said that.
See, the secrets have been revealed.
No, but come on. Like sometimes I just feel like saying goodbyes are really long and drawn
It can
out.
get that way.
And like I've already expressed my love for everyone for hours. So it's just enough. You've had enough of me. I could feel it.
Very good with the accent.
Yes, she is.
What?
Who?
You did that at the beginning. You should do more of the accents going through now. That's how you started it. So yeah, I think the rest of the show you should talk an accent.
That's why in Victorian England they invented the hallway. So after you've finished speaking to people, you can just stand inside but at the front door for another 20 minutes, pointlessly trying to be polite.
That is so
goodbye.
great. Yes. Hold on, I'm going to beat myself so I can clap. I think I'm the only person I know that would have to do that. Yes.
My brain.
Yeah, I'll have to be chatty because remember, I took out everybody in this household right now. I've got Zach eating, Bob
This is
eating,
true.
and
You've
me
got
eating.
half the people in the show over there eating. That's
Eating,
not
I know.
fair.
I'm
Not
how
fair.
rude, how rude, and it's good.
Fair. And you didn't bring any for the class.
Come on over, class.
Rose,
not
what
even
else
muted,
is going on
is
with
he?
you? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go on, mate.
I'm just saying, Rose, what else has got you worked up these days? What else is in your head? What else has got you doing research?
Oh, goodness. Well, gosh, I don't want to say too much,
Uh-oh.
Give something away too early.
Hints.
How about things that aren't related to show prep? What do you?
Well,
just personal.
Lately, I've been living and breathing the show. We've been putting out 2 shows a week, which is an extra 50 pages of typing, and also it's so sad because I'm trying to. For a while there, Jason and I were trying to get 6 shows ahead, so that Crow could take a vacation. Oh, that isn't going to happen right now. But anyway, then we got caught up again, and so. Just stuff is crazy right now, and we want to stay on top of the current stuff that we all seem to be forced into covering.
Mm-hmm.
I right now you're familiar with Dr. Kaufman, the doctor that we had on. We're going to do another episode with him coming right up as soon as possible. I hired him, and so he recommended a detox thing, and I'm taking a pretty long time gathering the ingredients, and then I'm going to officially start. And I hope that doesn't sound like procrastinating, but really I'm going to slowly make the changes, but it's pretty hardcore. And then also I have
some of the ingredients are not easy to necessarily find.
Oh, thanks, Cammie. I guess I should come clean now. I thought about it. I thought about that, and I decided I'm not going to do it. It's just the decision I've made, and I hope that nobody judges me for maybe not making the right decision for my health, but it was my decision.
If it's from your heart, it's the right decision for your health. I believe it.
It was going to cause me too much stress, and I don't want to keep people waiting, but the doctor prescribed me cow brains. Sorry. Don't mean to shock you all, but I was shocked because I was like, yeah, it's going to be celery juice, take some herbs, gonna be good.
A little turmeric, we're good to go.
Had a great consultation, and turns out that I screwed up my health so much that the resolution would be eating a sacred being's brain. I've been trying so hard. I'm against becoming a zombie. This is my life, comedy. And I have my foot elevated because I broke my leg. I was in the hospital recently, and the day that I got discharged, they took Jason's temperature. So that was like the day that everything went crazy. And I'm thank you for asking about how I'm doing, because I'm doing much better after getting death threats from the island of Kauai after I made a joke about traveling there.
Are you serious?
Yes, it's ridiculous. And also, I also made a comment about MLM. So the MLMs and Kauai, it was bad. I almost had to change my number. But anyway, I was in the hospital and I got inpatient because see, it's hard to be in the hospital when you're kind of an anarchist and you don't really like authority and people making up rules. And they put up this like lever on the bed so that I couldn't get up, and I didn't have to go anywhere, but I was just literally offended by that thing. So I was like climbing up over that thing and trying to put it down just so I had the option of escaping, right? Like, don't we all want to be able to escape a situation? So I broke my leg and my ankle just being mad at the bed.
Good thing I was on mute. I just lost it, Russ.
I'm not going to conform to your
okay
rules.
At least someone could laugh. I'm like, 15 years ago, I learned how to get in and out of the bed. I ain't going to fall out of this thing.
I don't need no safety rail.
Exactly. And it was just the safety rail by the feet, which is what makes it even more ridiculous. And also, Jason was on his way in. You know, if he had, like, just his voice would have been like, just chill. You know?
Yeah, and you'd have been like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Or if I'd been on Skype with Crow, he'd just be like, don't let common sense flee the scene. Like, all right, dude. I'll just breathe.
I love when you do Crow.
That wasn't a good, that was like the internal, that was my judgmental voice, not an not an impersonation.
Judgmental voice. That was definitely something he would have said, though.
Yeah, that was
sure.
That was like a parroting, not an impersonation. But I'll, since you mentioned it, and since you guys gave me confidence about my voices, I'll just allow myself to let it come out if I feel a Crow coming on.
There you go. There we go. Nice.
Yeah, don't force anything, but if you feel one, yeah, let it out. Don't hold
Zach,
back.
have you eaten all that food already?
Yeah, I don't mess around.
It doesn't sound like you do, lad. Well done.
Yeah, when it's time to eat, it's time to eat. I don't got time for it.
I noticed you didn't even go on mute. Did you just run upstairs?
No.
Chewing's for suckers.
There was no even sound of digestion.
Well, I have been trying to cut back on my portions a little bit lately, just in case. Like all this.
What's that?
happens.
Corona training?
Yes.
Yeah, kind of. You know, just getting my stomach a little bit smaller, easier to fill. Keep that hunger pain away. Just,
That's
I don't
awesome.
know. I haven't fasted in a while anyway, so I might do another water cleanse here.
That's cool. What do you guys think of, how back in the day, everyone was always talking about how it was really healthy to eat all day in really, really small amounts. And now people are realizing the truth of intermittent fasting. It blows my mind because anybody who's ever gotten a gastric bypass, like, you're forced to just basically eat all day in small amounts, right? Or you're going to starve, right? So it's like you're just condemning them to an unhealthy, I'm sorry, I should say us, because I had it in 2007. This is like, they diagnosed me with this thing called gastric paresis. And they're like, oh, if you get this surgery, it will, fix it. And then I had like a perforation afterwards and they converted me. And so now I basically have to eat like that. So when I hear about intermittent fasting, I'm like, oh yeah, go, do it, enjoy, feel the healthiness.
Like 6
Cheering
hours.
you on from the sidelines.
6 hours intermittent fast.
I have to eat like a bird.
I eat when I'm hungry.
This is how I eat. This is what you should picture. I just got an image in my mind. And this is like a mental, like, verbal gif. I'm like spellcasting you all right now. And what I say, you're not going to be able to remove from your brain. You know, the part where like Ace Ventura is sitting at the table in the office and like eating sunflower seeds and then like putting it on. And then Courtney Cox is like, that's disgusting. Like, that's my soul brother. Like that's how I feel. That's how I feel. I'm just like, what is this artificial way of living? I just might as well be like spitting out sunflower seeds.
Nope, I totally get that.
But yeah, so I am a cheerleader of intermittent fasting, but I can't speak from experience. I've just seen it work wonders on people. And and then for everyone else that has had a gastric bypass, like, guys, just like hang in there. For the surgically altered, we can do it. We can still survive with a positive attitude. Hey, have you guys looked into epigenetics, Cammy? Oh wait, Cammy's eating. Sorry, not Cammy. Cammy in the future will come back. But Adam or Walt or Josh,
Some.
Zach.
Oh, Walt and I actually had interviewed. Walt's not here. Janice Barcelo, who is very well versed in epigenetic memories and things like that. And yeah, it's fascinating stuff. We've not ever aired it, mainly because it was all goofy, and we've just not ever had a chance to clean it up and put it together and release it. Although we've talked about doing it for the last 18 months or so. But
I think that she was at the Free Your Mind conference that I went to once in Philadelphia, the outskirts of Philadelphia. But when I was taking early childhood education classes in college, they mentioned epigenetics, but they totally left out the whole concept of consciousness, which is so unfortunate because I really think that that's the ticket, you know? But the way that they taught it to us that fascinated me at the time is that on your DNA, and oh my gosh, if anyone can like correct me, because this was literally in public indoctrination, you know? So that's why I'll share and find out if this makes no sense. But the way that they described it was that there's methyl molecules around the gene, and these methyl molecules are like on and off switches. So let's say that there is such thing as a cancer gene. Every time as I'm talking, I just feel like Bob might be like in the background being like, oh, I'm gonna have to call in and explain what's really going on. But okay, let me try to power on. So
You're making sense so far, Roseanne.
all right, thanks. So if you have the cancer gene and I have the cancer gene, perish the thought. But depending on the environment or a different variables, that switch might be turned on or off. So even if we might have the same gene, it might influence who is more predisposed to getting certain symptoms associated with a certain disease. So what they left out was consciousness, and I think your consciousness really affects your internal environment, but I just haven't harnessed the I can't really visualize how you would do that. How do you mentally do it other than just, going for it? I don't know if there's a formula or a special method, but nutrition, obviously, and just detoxifying your body has got to play a role as well. But I would just love to continue to look into that connection if anybody else is going down that path.
You're suggesting whether spirituality can affect epigenetics. So, and for me, that is the fundamental of meditation. It's switching on those switches that are there. It's epigenetics is a proof that evolution is a load of nonsense. It shows that every mechanism is already there. It's just a matter of activating them. For me, that's what that shows. So for me, it's spot on.
Absolutely. And isn't it a shame that they're keeping that from people that are interacting with small children? I mean, basically, after a certain point, it became about paperwork. And that after changing my mind about all of these different ideas about what I wanted to do, it was early childhood education where I'm like, oh, this is all nonsense. They're just training you to do paperwork in every single job. So screw this, I'm leaving. And then I joined the corporate world. But then I went through that phase and left there. I'm so happy that I'm not in a job right now. Like, just my heart goes out to anyone who's in a job that's like forcing you to be around people that are scared, like, and just really, really panicking over all this fear porn.
I'm out there, Rose, at the moment, mate. On the front line every day as a pharmacist, so we're dealing with this. It's quite interesting.
Yeah, I'd love to hear more about your experience.
No one's having it. Nobody is. Everybody is dubious, is what I would say. Nobody has an answer. It's interesting the amount of times I'm being asked. So what's happening then? How long is it really going to last for? As if I'm some kind of oracle that can foretell whatever shenanigans are going off.
Yeah. I would love to believe that all this dubiousness are people just wondering in their own heads. They're too afraid. Let's hope that maybe people are just too afraid to think that deep down inside they know that it's nonsense. And
That's it.
I hope that's the case.
This is the interesting thing right now that I think truthers, for all the possibilities of explanations that we have, and they're as varied as the layman's, we're all in the same boat right now. And I think everybody knows that whatever we're being fed isn't the truth. Whatever's occurring isn't for the motivation that we're being told. And genuinely, I've not met anyone that I've engaged with, in chats about it. You've obviously got the masked up people that are stood well away from you, behaving all observant rules, the sheeple. But anybody that bothers to talk to you, and there's a lot of people now bothering to talk to you about it. Like I say, asking me as if I might know, being their pharmacy. Do you know what I mean? But there's too many people from too diverse a spectrum of society asking the same question to suggest that the general public aren't saying sod off. Do you know what I mean? And that's not to mention the diverse groups that have entrenched opinions in one camp or the other, or like me, I haven't got a bloody clue what's going off, but been a truther for a while. Everybody knows it smells, Rose. It stinks. That's certainly in the UK. I don't know what you guys are like, but
I think that we just know that the people who are in control of the information are receiving lie to us. And I definitely would never go into the whole realm of solipsism like, oh, we cannot know. Like, we have to just keep working hard to get to the bottom of it. And I think that's by a lot of firsthand observations. I love the videos that I'm seeing on YouTube of empty hospitals. I follow Brian Staley. Yeah.
Hundreds of them.
Brian Staley is my main
really
source.
Stepped up. Yeah.
Yeah, Zach.
Yeah, he's doing an amazing job covering all this.
Right?
And
it's empowering to see people doing it.
And it's not just conspiracy people. It's people that just make videos about health and things like that are going to them and saying like, hey, there's something going on here, folks. This is weird.
Yep.
It's not
you
just
guys.
your conspiracy theorist that's doing this. It's the people are waking up. It's neat to see. Maybe they've overplayed their hand in this one.
I think if the full shenanigans are what we fear, and really they have, because I say I'm on the front line. My sister-in-law's a nurse in the main hospital here, and we're all waiting to see these things, and nobody's experiencing anything other than through the media. Realistically, I have a whole estate to look after, and it's it's a tight estate. The community talks, and we've not got anyone in there. Right, the only person I've got is my best friend's wife, who had a really shocking bout of the flu. She stayed at home, and she's fine now. She's on the way, recovering after about the flu. But actually, and this is a medic, is that somebody's supposed to be dealing with. What the hell am I dealing with? Got no identifiable causes, and that is for me the biggest false flag.
Yeah, the red flag in your face that's screaming at you. Like, wait a minute. You're
Two
telling me
nurses.
people can just be fine and they could have the coronavirus. So what am I supposed to do?
Two
I
nurses.
don't understand how I don't have it. I have a compromised immune system. I don't have a spleen. I don't have tonsils. I don't have like different pieces of organs that have been rearranged. And was put on heavy antibiotics. I was in the hospital, which is just a cesspool of filth. You know, you never want to be in there if you don't want to contract something. So how am I like fine now? I don't know. I don't get it. I guess I'm just lucky.
The other question I've got is this spread? Right? Now, China, this disease appears to have gone from east to west on a Mercator map. Not on a flat plane, not on a ball. Like the coast of California didn't shut down, considering the Chinese community, the demographics of the way the virus is spreading, America being the last to really respond, it's very, very strange. We supposedly live in an integrated world, a global world. Sorry, gag reflex. But to get me, but yet we're seeing a very phased transition that seems to be geographic, as if this is being spread by horse and cart.
I am so conspiratorial about this. I'm just realizing now how I feel, which is that I think that when it comes to contagion, there's a reason why people get the same symptoms around each other. But when it comes to this stuff, this 9/11 level stuff, this 100% hoax, in my opinion, I think that whatever is causing these symptoms is being implemented from place to place at the time that they desired. And that is all conjecture. It's my intuition at the moment. So I wish I could verify, but I don't know how they're doing this or whether it's spreading at the rate that they're saying. But I see any numbers presented to me for the mainstream. I just don't. I can't respond in a meaningful way. It's so hard for me to trust them. That's just where I'm at.
So one of the key facets of that Prussian indoctrination system is teaching the kids to do things that don't necessarily make sense to them. You just do it because the teacher says so, right? Whether it's just lame, stupid, nonsensical word problems that they give you in math that you have to figure out even though they bear no relationship to reality. It's just, this is how we're going to make you think about things. This math problem, you're going to think about it in this particular way. And you just rote memorization, you learn your vocabulary, you just have to write it out 900 times or whatever it is. It's this just reaction. If you can get these kids to do things that they wouldn't normally do, things that don't make sense to them in their mind, but they're willing to do it because, damn it, you're the authority. And if they can surrender their authority to you, the state, all the better. And I think that's really what a lot of this big scare is. I mean, it's much ado about nothing, right? It's
Yeah, indeed, man.
And how much can they get us to react?
Absolutely. That's what I meant when I said the petri dish. It's all just information control, and then we're reacting to it, and they're seeing how we react. And I love watching people. And on a positive note, when we go down to the lake, there was people recently. I don't know if the law's changed since I last went to the lake. It just seems to change every day, and I just go by what I'm told. But apparently it was legal at the time. Everyone was just walking up and down, just being awesome. But then you've got people like my family who are all in their houses, separate from each other, not seeing each other, and then my dad posted a picture of him walking the dog 6 feet away from, my sister and my stepmom. So it's just, I feel like there's two different realities happening right now. There's the reality of people that are scared and they're in their homes thinking that they're protecting themselves from something. And then there's people that are just like, I refuse to
Do you
give
rule
in.
out any communicable disease then? bearing in mind what evil bastards they are you happy to not worry about it? Because genuinely, I have no idea what's going on. Now, I've been chatting on Roxy all week. Whilst I'm
I have zero
closely
fear.
watching my civil liberties and the
Oh no,
infringement
that's
of them.
scary.
Yeah, and I'm
For
ready
sure.
to pounce on that. I'm not prepared to stand up and go, there isn't anything to worry about. I'm going to cough on my kids. You know, I'm not that confident because frankly, from, looking at the way these evil bastards behave and the way they double, triple, quadruple cross things, I'm not arrogant enough to stand out there going, there isn't anything to contaminate me. I've not that much confidence in my knowledge of what's going off to make that statement.
Yeah. Well, I totally respect that and think that it's always good to be cautious. But I don't feel compelled to feel fear. I'm not afraid of being sick whatsoever. I do think that it's possible people can get there might be a flu going around like there is every year, where the flu would be a set of symptoms as a result of the body reacting to some kind of toxification in the cell. Because what we've learned is that a virus is merely genetic proteins that are kind of like coming out of the cell as a response to something. We can't really prove anything else. We can't prove that contagions, move the way that it's described. We can make connections
I'm really
to different
dubious
rollouts
on
of
this stuff, though.
You know
really
what?
dubious. I think
I don't
we've
blame
spread a
you.
lot of stuff that
I don't blame you.
proclaims to poo-poo our understanding of virology with some very, very dubious undermining of old experiments done in the 20s, 30s and 40s. I've got absolutely no problem with, I mentioned this to Josh earlier, with people coming to the realization, stuff that some of us medics have known for a while, that there is a difference between a viroid and a virus is the way it's painted, and things we've shown in the movies is not the understanding we have in medicine of how these things work. And I think, to the shame of medicine, it's not stood up and said, we've got no freaking idea about viruses. But what concerns me is that the void is filled with stuff that is just as non-valid in terms of the mainstream way in which they present viruses to us. And I think I'm a little concerned that I've heard lots of people saying that exact thing. That, don't worry, I'm not going to have any concern about this whatsoever, because I've heard on the internet that viruses are bollocks. And the mainstream understanding, the way it's presented, is correct. They are bollocks in terms of them being those packets of protein
Invaders.
that are produced. Yeah, that's not what a virus is. The best way to describe, the only way that we can describe a virus at the moment in terms of quantify it as something physical, is to actually describe it as the cell in which is either, from mainstream's perception, infected, or from a more holistic view, that it's the defunct cell that is in some way producing markers and mediators to tell other cells to do the same thing. I think it's dangerous to suggest that is not communicable between humans, because I think
That's totally fair. And anyone would be crazy to say that like I know more than you. And I'm definitely not going to go out and cough all over other people. But that's what Kawhi thought. Kawhi was comparing me to Typhoid Mary. I'm not even kidding. I had no idea that the mainstream media was making a big deal out of this on like March 11th. I was undelauded in the hospital. I just was getting tons of emails from listeners about different like esoteric, Saint Corona. And I didn't know about what the media was saying. And so I just made a joke about it being a hoax. And people responded in such a way that I I was absolutely shocked. So that's when I really started researching what a virus is. And so just to clarify, I will freak out if like something drops or if there's like a bang. I'm so easily scared. So I don't know why I don't feel scared of the virus anymore, but
it's clearly a hoax, Rose. You've said under everything I said, what these are the confusion. It's a bit like flat Earth, the confusion of the arguments. Okay, the virus discussion is one thing, 5G discussion is another thing. What humanity is being put through, the mind game, the psyop we're going through, is irrelevant to any of the validity of any of those separate arguments. We're all being played with.
Yep. Yeah. There's two things going on here. Is there a communicable disease, or is there a symptoms that people are going to get in mass throughout the globe or plane? Sorry,
Yeah.
I can't believe I used that word. Don't I know where I am? And every time that I'm in the chat and there's like a guest on a show and they say globe, I freak out and I'm like, how dare they? And I just did it. So you know what? I just learned my lesson. That was karma. I shouldn't have judged those people. People make mistakes. My whole face is red.
You do it again, just do what I did, dry retch. Go, oh, sorry. I said the bad word.
No, wait, maybe this is a sign from the universe.
Real quick. We have a question from Ginger Sugarbush from a little bit ago. Sorry it took so long, Brian.
Is he mad at me for saying globe?
No. He says, what episode is Everyone's a Robot When You're a Zombie? The rheostatics.
We've never used the word rheostatics in the show, because I would remember that.
I don't know then. And that was quite a while ago, so I don't know if Brian's still there to clarify.
Oh, no.
Everyone's a robot when you're a zombie. That's what he has.
Everyone. Is he looking at the name of an episode?
I don't know if people are playing fair or not. Or if I'm just reading the quote wrong, or the
I mean, I can think of
far up in chat.
I could think of like, when I think of a robot, I think of the topic of transhumanism, and I can rattle off different episodes that have to do with transhumanism, or even like episode 178, the fourth industrial revolution, or even 139, the effects of technology. But yeah, then there's the transhumanism episode in general for 57. Huh? Sorry.
Yeah, it took me a little time to get it out. I didn't want to interrupt the conversation. It was a good one. What was going on? Just a quote about the cow's brain, he says.
Oh, well, that wasn't in the cow brain comment. Was just a recommendation from Dr. Kaufman. It wasn't in an episode.
I think he was, near as I can tell, it's a song reference. And the rheostatics is the band. And the song is Everyone's a Robot When You're a Zombie. And it was just a zombie reference to eating brains, I think.
I wanted to know whether you...
Gotcha. Now I get it. I'm with you now.
Well, don't be, because I really kind of pulled that out of my butt. I'm just guessing here, but that's what it sounds right to me. Because the rheostatics sounds familiar.
When you said that, Rose, I have like this holistic view, and the only thing that came to mind was like a bit Indiana Jones. Do you have them chilled?
Oh my goodness. Well, he gave me 2 recipes. One was for chocolate pudding and one was for a frittata.
Frittata?
Sorry, I just snorted.
That's so middle class, isn't it? Not an omelette, a frittata, darling. Yeah.
In case you're wanting to have a, cow brain brunch.
I can't do it, but there is the reasoning has something to do with eating the organ that contains the stuff that is going to be good for the organ that you want to help, which is usually the same organ. So if you want to help your brain health, eat a brain. So I have not verified the science behind that or the ideas behind that, but that is
Sounds a
where.
bit Lorenzo's oil, doesn't it?
Oh, Adam, I wanted to tell you that I'm just really inspired by all of the of doctors coming forward to talk about the subject, and we're seeing more of it. There's another one that came forward, and I'm trying to schedule him. So it'll just help us to hear from people that were, taught by the mainstream, and then have now turned around and tried to do their own research. I think that helps to have both perspectives. And also time will tell. Is I still haven't met anyone that got sick, so maybe that's why I'm not scared. Who knows? If someone that I care about gets sick, that my idea might totally change. And everyone keeps saying the calm before the storm, calm before the storm. And when I hear that, my perspective, or as Cal Washington said recently, like he's referring to everything as his cognitive bias, which I love. I'm going to feel differently if something bad happens to someone, but I just don't think that it's going to happen, because when I hear calm before the storm, my brain goes buzzword. Or when I hear the word front lines, or when I hear the word ventilator, it's like my eyeballs are seeing the pages on the internet going by, and I'm seeing articles, and my brain is picking up all these words being repeated and like they were put out there. So I know that's super conspiratorial, and that's just a feeling, but that's my reaction. So it's a conjecture night with Rose.
Isn't the web the weed so good that you can go down any rabbit hole?
And so I don't want to fall prey to it. Yeah, I also don't want to go in circles, and I don't want to be. The main thing is that, wouldn't it be such a shame if us having this conversation, any of us on here tonight said something, and then we couldn't be friends anymore? And isn't it crazy to consider that and know that it's happening out there, even in this community a little bit? So as long as we just remember that we're all in this for the same reason, to get to the truth and not get sick, right? Because it's possible to get sick in this world. Let's not forget that.
Yeah. As long as we all know we're all getting mugged off, Rose, right? Irrespective of how we think we're getting mugged off, if we can all agree we're getting mugged off, then that'll do. And then maybe in a bit we'll find out how we got mugged off, because I ain't got a clue.
Let's find out together.
I certainly don't want beef with somebody that wants to tell me exactly how I'm getting mugged off. I'm just on full alert to try and see it's about what the right hand's doing with all this distraction. What's the left hand doing? Like in the UK, the police have got powers now, if they suspect that you've got a raised temperature, to be able to not only arrest you on the street, but go into your house and detain you. Now, they're the things that concern me, not what the causation, not what the problem they're trying to create is. It's the solution that they're already demonstrating with emergency powers that, for me, is the hugest concern. That in some, like, if this time 2 months ago, I had raving communicable disease of the flu, or I'd had a heart attack, if an ambulance turned up at my house and I told them to sod off, I want to die at home, the police didn't have the right to come in and drag me away. Whether or not I died in hospital or I'm disappeared or whatever, there are other questions, but the state didn't have those powers 2 months ago. They do today. And they'll be reviewed every 6 months, but they're enforced for 2 years, way outside of the remit of any disease that they're suggesting it is. And they're the things that concern me.
Amen. Amen, brother. I am with you all the way on that. Exactly. And is Zach still here?
He is.
Hello. So it just made me, while you were talking, I was just thinking about the video. And my thing is that I don't want to get in fights with people at all, but just from a philosophical and a moral standpoint, like what I feel like people need to understand in order to respond to the idea of order following is to just understand that order following is
evil, like that it's just against that you are that doing bad things is wrong, and that you need to take personal responsibility. So I guess I don't know how to communicate that to people. It's kind of a have you yeah, how do you, how I want to figure out a nice way to get that idea through to people, just because that is the way that it will be carried out. We know that there could be all sorts of crazy agendas, but these insane agendas cannot be carried out without the strong arm that is the order followers.
What Zach said at the start, Rose, isn't it? The message he read, and maybe we should play it again, because that's what everybody's got to ask themselves at these times. Everything we're doing. If suddenly people are turning around to me saying, give this vaccine out, I'll tell them to shove it up their arse. Do you know what I mean? If there's chloroquine, that if there's an opportunity that if this thing is real, taking this drug, which I'm aware of its positive and negative effects, I'd maybe advocate it. You know, that's something else. We're all in these times going to be given different choices, and I think the web is, I don't know, it feels real that we're all going to be asked now, and it feels like I hope there's some change the other side, because for everybody, like we said, to be feeling it, surely there is. I don't know, guys. Do you not feel? I pray there's something coming.
I don't know what's coming. I'm on standby, gathering info and watching it. I mean, I hope. My thing is that I seriously hope that people respond to that video, because my little the little chihuahua. I feel like a little raging chihuahua on the inside, and I know that's not helpful ever. But I want to take that video and just be like, hit them over the head with the video, so they know, like, this is about you, like take this seriously, because I just hope that they receive it with a lot of sincerity and urgency. I hope that people can respond to this information, because I don't know how to say it nicely, I guess, is my point. So that's, I feel like I'm happy to be around friends, because I don't know how I would explain this to someone that didn't already kind of get it the way that you guys do.
It's difficult. I'm unfortunately at my in-laws' home, basically. I mean, it's my brother's house, but the majority of the people in the home are my in-laws and my mother, who I'm here to take care of. And they are far exceeding anything I could have believed any reaction would be to this thing. I've never seen anything like what I'm experiencing in this household. It's beyond.
Yeah,
It's
I
very
feel
troubling.
for you, man. Yeah, this is unprecedented back and forth stuff going on between families. It's happening in mine, and I really thought, th- the things I'm seeing from the people around me, I always would have thought that they would be the ones to rise above that. The hateful comments.
Right. That's the part that I'm just stunned by some of the things I've heard come out of these people who are used to be very loving, spiritual, amazingly like lights shining when I met them 10 or 12 years ago, I guess.
So that's why this is the time for us to be the light that shines in the darkness. And
oh, yeah, for sure.
It's hard. Like, I'm talking to myself right now. Like, this is the time. Be cool, man. We gotta be cool.
But these are the opportunities we've been given, aren't they? I mean, it's weird, and there are people that are less informed than ourselves that are scared. So I'm doing my best, locally at work, to just reassure people that there is support there for them. And I'm talking in a social sense, not in terms of an information sense.
Absolutely, yeah.
These are the chances we've got. Society is hopefully collapsing. If I'm being optimistic, shit's about to hit the fan, and we've got the chance now to have the local society that we say the state should have provided for us. And certainly, past few weeks, been talking about ways in which just creating community and supporting the elderly, the infirm, those that aren't as necessarily mobile as the layperson in these times, and building the society that we so desperately want.
Yeah.
And I think as the state shuts down, then all that's left is the people around you to provide those services, to see if you've got enough toilet roll for the old
Totally.
lady down the road. And to me, I just hope that we've got the chance, with everything shutting down, to build a world for 6 weeks where we can show we don't have to return to the crap that they told us we have to do. Otherwise, it'll all collapse. It'll all collapse if you don't go 9 to 5, 9 to 5, 9. Yeah.
Right.
We've got the chance to tell them that's bollocks. Look how good it was when you made us stay in and just look after each other.
Yeah, those are some important ideas to think about. Just all of us setting aside the information and being there for each other. And like, let's play a game. The government has collapsed. Right now, what can I do to help each other? Like, okay, I will go tanning and fill potholes on, this day on this road. Hopefully it will be when the sun is out. And, just like, how could I contribute? Or like, how could I help children with their, learning the etymology of words? It's just a thought experiment to have, like, how could I contribute to everyone else if everything does change like that? But yeah, do I hope that everything crashes? It's an interesting thought. You asked that a little bit earlier. You said like, we hope something happens, right? And I was just, do we?
It's funny, isn't it?
Crazy.
Do I want it to? Yes, I do. I'm too scared to let it away. It's a bit like Brexit.
Well, like, there's a part of me that just wants to watch everything crash, but then it's like, I also want to eat food and enjoy my life. But I do have, it's okay. Ultimately, I have to remember that I am a human being and I care about humanity. And that is why I do everything that I do. And so in the moment, it's so easy to just be like, let's watch it all crashing down.
As much as we claim or champion the idea of throwing off the shackles of all the crap we've been inundated with, we were all raised in this system too, and we have gotten pretty damn comfortable in it. And it sure would suck to have to give up some of my guitar playing time to go out and have to fight the local wolves for some deer.
Well, that's the question, Walt, isn't it? How many weeks are you prepared to go without a hamburger for freedom?
Exactly.
You know what? I'm actually cool with being left alone without a hamburger. I just don't want to be put into a cage or forced into a vaccine or just forced to live my life in any certain, I can't imagine a life where I'm not allowed to go outside and interact with people and give people hugs. It's just, I do not know how I will react. Right now, I feel like I'm just in waiting mode just to see what happens and see, we can't help it. I can't help it. I want to see what other people are doing. Like, I'm scanning, just like scanning around and just checking it out and seeing what is the response. And then I compare myself to, how they're being, the people that are observing us and AI, and just putting myself into Dr. Evil mode. Like, what are they thinking and what are they doing? Because the plan could be changing in real time, right? They could be taking our responses, then deciding the next, like it's one of those Goosebumps books where you decide which page to jump to based on what just read.
Choose your own adventure.
Right?
I think that's exactly what goes off. Right? Have you seen this week with regards to the different diseases that apparently the coronavirus is now? Compared to places like Italy, Spain, where there's the very different progression rate to the UK, France, and I think the WHO described it as a different disease, which I thought clearly is stuck in my noggin. But that to me is indicative. They're trying to mediate with what they can get away with, how they can, how the public's reacting. Once the state's got a power, it's going to be very interesting to watch it give it up. And that's the other crucial indicator. They've already mandated these powers way past any reasonable time already without the public noticing. So it's interesting how they control the narrative to keep the powers.
That's
Absolutely fascinating.
one thing I will say about Missouri and its governor is that it's held out shutting down the state just for that reason, because he doesn't think that, once government gets the power, it gives it up easily. And he doesn't think that it's the government's place to start telling businesses which businesses can stay open and which businesses have to close. And then how do you enforce a stay-at-home order? How do you even do that? What was that going to look like? And these are questions that, the answers to which he's not ready to actually enforce. So at least as of today, everything's still reasonably copacetic around here. I mean, with the exception of some toilet paper shortages, it's pretty much business as normal.
Are you getting angry if somebody gets within 1.5 meters of you in a kid? Yeah. See, that's beginning here.
It's some people are. It is beginning some here.
I think about all these individual, think about these little individual situations out of the top of my head. Like, for example, what if someone is, on probation and they're not allowed to drink, but they do, and now they're afraid of going to get alcohol because they're afraid the cops are going to be like, why are you out? You're not supposed to be drinking, and because they smell alcohol, and your chip says, that you've been drinking, and then they have to go through withdrawals, and they, die of the DTs. Just there are so many little situations that all of a sudden this even if it's incremental control, people are hooked on different chemicals and they're just and this is stuff that can happen right now because of this. Huh?
It doesn't feel incremental. It feels like a big ramping up. Whatever's about, if you look at it from the bad, you can take the QAnon positive side. But if you're thinking from the state is making a play to control us more viewpoint, then it doesn't feel like a small switch. I think we come out the other side of this and things have changed significantly.
Yeah,
maybe cash disappears, because it's dirty and it'll spread disease. So they've then got full control that way. They're already painting that narrative.
Well, yeah, it's like incremental steps, but every day now. It's a new thing every day, it seems. So yeah, it's a exponential ramping up. And I think we're going to restore to some kind of normalcy. And it's going to be a new normal, and people aren't going to realize that everything has changed and that a switch has literally been flipped, and the internet has changed. It's more information control and data collection. All of these CEOs have stepped down, and the government has bought so many shares, and it's a complete takeover. And I think that's what I'm concerned about. It's the taking over full spectrum control of our minds. And that, to me, is even more important than if there was, an aggregate set of symptoms that people were getting in places all over the world at once.
For me, if you look,
I don't want to exist in that kind of artificial world of control.
It's another. It's a bit like World War I to 1812. It's the paradigm shifts that historically they've used war, and they're using the narrative war, this stay-at-home war. Previously, we've had to fight. Now, however long we have to stay here, that's the narrative they're painting. That's what they historically do. Society tends to come out the other side of these major events and function in a different way.
Right. Think about 9/11 and all the Go America signs and yellow ribbons, and everybody had a flag on every surface, and now the world was going to the airport, waiting 4 hours. All of
Think
that
about life in America before 1939, or whenever you guys bothered to show up, probably a couple of years later.
A couple after that.
Yeah, something like that.
Never as old as you are, mate.
But everything was the Waltons then, and then afterwards is a major paradigm shift, and it's these historical things that you can only look back retrospectively and see how those events changed society, and you wonder why and how, but actually it's because that's the gear change they use to move to their next thing. That Rose was, I think, painting eloquently what we all fear, that Orwellian hellhole.
Yeah, just the idea of being watched, like, or have you guys thought about the idea of nanotechnology being in any potential mandatory vaccine and then that responding to different technologies? I mean, there's so
Absolutely.
much information out there of that happening, and I'm just so worried about people taking that vaccine. Who knows what's
I'm
in that
actually a little
thing?
bit worried about what's been sprayed on us over the last 20 years
Exactly. You know what? You
and
know,
how
and
that
that's the
might
thing.
activate under frequency.
Yes, absolutely. Well, for sure.
And so if you
Absolutely.
didn't get your vaccine or you didn't get your chip, well, that's fine. We got you covered too, brother.
But I love traveling, and if I'm not allowed to get on an airplane because I haven't been vaccinated, then oh my gosh, I am so in the market for like fake paperwork. Okay, just putting that out there. Like I need to go to Japan before I,
So that's
leave.
what I'm talking about, Rose. Now imagine what I'm saying. We come out of this in 6 months' time, whatever. But the only way now you can travel as a citizen is after you've been vaccinated. You see, majority of the society think, oh, it's perfectly reasonable. 20 years' time, nobody even bats an eyelid unless you've been jacked up with the eyeballs with mercury.
Have you guys seen the movie Gattaca?
Yep.
No.
It's a little in the future, and everyone's genetic cleanliness, another purity, like they're not diseases, there's no whatever. And if you're not genetically pure like that, you're like ostracized and you're not allowed to work, you're not allowed to get income, and you literally go through a checkpoint every morning and they take your blood and check your genetics to make sure you are who you say you are. And there's this whole black market thing, and this dude has
And
to
they
wear
take
this
shots.
fake. Oh, it's amazing.
There's needles in that one too.
Yes,
Remember,
there
dude?
are,
There's needles in it. And I'm really into 90s movies. I was muted when I freaked out at you initially mentioning it. But I love the 90s movies, and I remember being, I don't know, I was probably 13. What was it, 1997 when that came out? And it seemed so futuristic. But think about it right now from a behavioral perspective. Behaviorally, we are closer to Gattaca, dude. Right?
Really nice.
It's nuts.
And I loved what they called those genetically inferior people.
I'm trying to get it. What was it?
The invalids.
There it is.
The invalids.
Right, like invalids, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that Uma Thurman was in that, right? And whatever
I
his name
remember it
was.
was, I know Jude Law for sure.
Ethan Hawke.
Yeah,
they look like aliens.
Yeah, Uma Thurman.
Let's see, 97, she was dead on there. Man, we got to do some trivia games with you, not just karaoke. Yep, there she is. Uma.
Are you going to do some karaoke, Walt, on that?
Man, you ready?
Come on.
Ready? What we doing?
No, not tonight. Are you going to send Roxanne a vid? You
Absolutely.
can smash it.
I can do a song.
I thought you guys were going to play some karaoke that Roxanne did as well after yours, Adam. Didn't you say that Roxanne did it as well?
Rox has done a couple of tunes. We're waiting for Riley. Riley said if he gets two £20 donations into Roxanne's PayPal account, he'll go and do a tune. So,
So we're being bribed.
Well, yeah, basically bullied and blackmailed into humiliating yourself is the... I'd do it for free. I've got no shame.
But see, it's not humiliating yourself. Like even in your song, I was totally with you, and that's why I love karaoke, is because I felt how you felt. I felt like my spirit was with you, and I felt the passion in your voice, whether you like it or not. Too, I felt. If you think that you didn't put off that intent, then I must have been picking up on subconscious stuff. So, and everyone does it too. Even if you're scared and you do karaoke, like you're gonna put good vibes out into the world, unless someone is in a bad mood and insecure and just shouldn't even be there in the first place, right? Like I know that Cammie would be in the audience cheering us on, and I just want people to know that I would never force someone to do it who didn't want to, because it's all about doing it when you feel compelled to do it, you know?
I'm happy to try and bully everybody right now into doing it for Roxanne's show.
But isn't this kind of like an analogy? An analogy would be that let's show everyone how much fun we're having doing it, and then I promise that people will join, because I've witnessed it over years, 4 nights a week karaoke for a while.
in Santa Barbara, and I just saw that some people, you know, it is contagious. Let's talk about that. There are different moods and things that can be contagious like that. That's more believable to me than a freaking virus.
Exactly.
I only got the guts because of Zach doing his singing on here.
One of the things I was looking forward to on my visit here to Oregon was talking to everybody into let's go do this thing called Karaoke from Hell again. Have you ever heard of that, Rose, out here on the West Coast in Oregon?
Is it metal or is it death at stake?
It is a live band that plays behind you while you do karaoke. It is amazing. You are a star for your 4 or 5 minutes. It is amazing.
Whoa.
I absolutely love it as long as the selection is good. And
they have a range from what you like from metal, but it's not. They're not at all. They have a whole lot of like standards. They'll do if you want some Sinatra, they'll throw that up there. I can't tell you the number of Sinatra tunes I heard up there before I got up to Journey. It was amazing. Amazing.
That's really cool.
Oh my gosh, what Journey did you do? I love doing Open Arms.
What? See, that's what I'm like. I can't get there. It's not my thing. I'm more of the upbeat. Well, no, I do Faithfully, so I'm not all upbeat Journey.
Okay, well, we got to find one to do
Lights,
a duet. It's just, I also like doing Under Pressure as a duet. And I also like doing
a duet that I would love to do, but it's probably such an old song that you're not going to know it. You know a little song called Paradise by the Dashboard Light? I knew it's too old. Go dig it. It's Meatloaf. And I cannot remember her name, but it is phenomenal. It's hilarious.
I love Meatloaf, and so I'd be able to do it because I think I've actually done it before, going into it not knowing it, and I'm totally into. You call it a suicide night when you just do a song that you don't know.
I love you, but I won't do that.
That's a good one too.
Yes, but I won't do that. Yes, that's such a good one. Everyone sings along with that one, right? You can go up if someone doesn't let you give them a hug when you're doing karaoke. You know, I do anything for love, but I want that. There's something wrong with them, and you know, it's a good thing to find out about someone. Oh, there's something wrong. Oh my gosh! Right now, there's no karaoke going on at that bar.
Oh, I know anywhere. That's what I was saying. There's no anywhere. I know there's that one place in New Orleans like we braved once many years ago that was just packed. Too many people. I couldn't even hardly get in there when they called my name. It was ridiculous. But Cat something, I don't remember.
Oh, the Cat Karaoke, it's open 24/7.
That's it. It is the karaoke place. That's all they do,
Cat's
right?
Karaoke.
But it's nuts. It is so packed.
The French Quarter is dead right now.
You can't handle it. Oh,
Jason drove down Bourbon Street.
Who wants to walk like an Egyptian then with Roxanne? So I stick it on.
That's it. I can't wait.
That sounds good.
Have you got it, Josh?
Yeah.
Give me just
Oh, I'm working while I'm talking. I can't bear to leave, so I'm just multitasking. Is that all right?
Please do, and we appreciate you hanging this long. And we're glad you feel comfortable enough to do so.
Yeah, do it.
Well, I'm just saying saludos y bendiciones like 100 times. And thank you. And daffodils are good. But I'm afraid you guys are going to say something and I'm just going to be like typing, it's wrong. It's against society, all this crap. But that's why it's good that we're about to hear music. So this is perfect. Yay, let's do it.
There you go then. You ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1.
Still see me? Yes, you can. So that's all right. Okay, so shout out to shout out to everybody that donated and got me into this challenge. This is the first track that I'm gonna do today. Tomorrow there'll be another track. So hopefully I will be able to start this.
This is gonna be so good.
You know when you just have mind blank. So yeah, hopefully I'll be all right and hopefully I'll just get through it. So. Yeah, actually, while I'm doing this, Rich, I might not be able to see you properly. So you might need to physically Skype text me to tell me to stop. So I won't see you. Right?
For those that don't know, that's Rich on the other side, who is the guy that's been giving us all a bit of musical relief, who can sing. He's a bar singer out in Tenerife. I think he's standing in as backing dancer for Roxanne on this.
All the old paintings on the tombs, they do the sand dance, don't you know? If they move too quick, oh way, oh, they're falling down like a domino. All the birds are men on the now, they got their money on a bet. Go crocodiles, oh way, oh, they zap their teeth on a cigarette. Fun hype with the hookup pipe, say way, oh, way, oh, way, oh, way, oh. Walk like an Egyptian. The blonde waitresses take their trays and spin around and they cross the floor. They've got their moves away, oh, you drop your drink and they give you more. All the school kids so sick of books, they like the punk and the metal band. When the buzzer rings away, oh, they're walking like an Egyptian. All the kids in the marketplace say, way, oh, way, oh, way, oh, way, oh. Walk like an Egyptian. Slide your feet up the street and bend your back and lift your arm down and pull it back. Life is hard, you know, oh way, oh, so strike a pose on the Cadillac. If you wanna find all the cops are hanging out at the corner shop, singing, dancing, oh, oh way, oh, they spin the clubs, cruise down the block. All the Japanese with the yen, the party boys call the Kremlin, and the Chinese know, oh way, oh, they walk in line like the Egyptian. All the cops in the donut shop say, way, oh, way, oh, way, oh, way, oh. Walk like an Egyptian. Walk like an Egyptian. Okay, so there you go. Hope you had a good crack at that, guys.
That
Hey,
was
Roxanne.
awesome.
So
Amazing.
awesome. I love it.
Standing O for sure.
Quality.
And I wanted to do the harmony, but I didn't want to interrupt the video by singing along.
Well, I was singing along on mute, and
I am the worst person to be in the car with because I'm going to do every harmony part there is.
I was whistling.
that's what we need more of. Love it.
Yep. Love. Just spread that love, folks.
So, Wokey karaoke every Friday night before Iron Realm, I think, for the foreseeable future. So,
And that was quite an elaborately, like, nicely done setup. She sounded great. She's got the moves. Hell, I can't follow that, man. I'll have to be the opening act on one of those. That's top notch.
Yeah, I'm down to open for Roxanne anytime.
Right?
She's total headliner material.
All right, we'll get together and figure out a duet though for sure.
Yeah, I want to do some. I want to do. I'm getting a lot of good ideas. I wish I could think about parody lyrics though, or not just parody, but change the lyrics to something more meaningful of different songs that I like. That the lyrics are so dumb.
I sat down and did it for Lights way back, and then never. I tried to record it on the setup I had at the time, and then it wasn't working out. And then once I got my great setup, I'd kind of left the idea behind. Well, not so great, but my better setup, and I just haven't come back to it. But yeah, it was interesting
If
to
you
sit down and
converted the
make it
music to
work.
432, would it affect our ability to sing along, or would we have to change our voices a little bit?
I mean, I hadn't thought about that aspect.
It's actually a little bit easier because it's a little bit lower, so you don't have to hit as high of a note.
Oh no, I'm going for it. I got to hit those reels.
Oh yeah, so you're gonna do Mariah Carey.
Well, I don't know if I'm that real. Man, it's been a minute. It really and truly, truly at one point, really, I believe we managed at one point to do 6 nights one week. That's how insane it got. Because if it wasn't this one group we knew that actually put on the karaoke, doing it at a bunch of places we like to go, it was another group in another city that we got to know through them that was doing it and having contests. And yeah, it was. And then the casino had their little contest, and you got free drinks and eats, and it got to be quite the addiction. Pre
Indeed. The early years, the karaoke days.
Yeah. There's things out there. If a person dug, you might find a thing or two.
I'm hearing a lot of talking, Mr. Johnson.
I'm not doing anything.
I'm hearing a lot of talking.
I know about the delay on here. We've attempted it before when we try to sing along with Shane, and then it's all off and we're all bad. Yeah,
I think you definitely need a pre-record, bro.
I'm going to do a video. I'll do it on this mic if it sounds good enough.
All you got to do is play the audio yourself on your computer. The delay only works if I'm playing the music and you're trying to sing to what I'm playing. That doesn't work. All you got to do is play it.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine if someone didn't know that? And they broadcasted that and they just kept going and people didn't know what to say. Because what are they going to say? You're off. You know, they're going to think that it's like a personal.
Like 4.5 beats off, dude.
You are so off. It sounds terrible.
Give it up. You suck.
No, it's not that. It's a technical problem.
Digital, yeah.
Yeah, I had a buddy. I was trying to teach him how to play guitar, and he just had no rhythm. I mean, he was like uber white. There was no rhythm at all in him. And I just gave up because we were like arguing about it. And I didn't have, how do you tell somebody? I mean,
with a rubber
band. He
knew
where the chords went. He knew where to put his fingers and everything. But the right hand just had no drumming rhythm to it at all. It was always like nails on a chalkboard listening to him try. And then finally he got with a real music teacher that understood music and how to teach people. And they cleaned that up. And he realized, he was like, yeah, you were right. I wasn't playing in rhythm up. And I was like, okay, good. Now you understand that. But yeah, we were like arguing over it. Because what he was hearing was, he was like, dude, it sounds just like it. And it's like, no, it does not, man. It sounds nothing like it. It actually hurts my ears to listen to you do this. I didn't say it like that, but that's what was in my head.
You make me want to punch a baby.
Yes. Yeah, some people don't have that rhythm in them. It's weird. And they can sing. They can do all kinds of, you know. But when it comes to playing, it's not there.
Yeah, I couldn't carry a tune in a bucket. Can't play an instrument.
I like playing the drums on cats. They let me do it. You know, it's like go boom, bada boom on their belly.
Much easier than playing drums with cats.
Right.
No,
not using the cats as sticks, but using their belly as a drum.
I thought that was a boast, Rose. Like you'd done something like I played the drums on cats.
Well, no.
Like as in the West End play. I was thinking that's impressive. That not I played belly drums on my.
I must have sounded really proud of it.
It sounded. I was like, wow, that's got. You must have some good rhythm then.
I was down in the pit.
Or tables, or just any inanimate object. I love it. They have air guitar contests that were just canceled. Of course, can't have people enjoying themselves. Pure good vibrations.
How do you judge something like that? Just passion? Just the amount of, your commitment to what you're doing?
Josh, you're right. It's just got to be, it's got to be someone's opinion, unfortunately. You got to win them over with your
Smash the air
spirit.
guitar when you're done?
Pardon? Yes.
Can you smash the air guitar when you're done for extra credit?
Yeah, I think doing creative things with the guitar is probably a plus.
Light it on
What you
fire.
should do, though, mate,
roast a marshmallow. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say you should at least sanitize it before anyone else is allowed to play it.
Oh, that would probably make them win if they had it. If they had it on Skype, they would just sanitize their thing instead of playing it. They just
air sanitizing. Yeah, air sanitizing. No real gel. Just pretend.
Still, they're fun to watch.
Someone told me that they saw someone selling hand sanitizer on the street for like $40, and I thought that can't be true. Like what?
Big long trench coat.
If I needed hand sanitizer that bad, I would say, "Hey, how did you make that? Care to teach a man to fish?" Or shall I just let you exploit me?
I had to ship some in from the United Arab Emirates last week. There is none at all. We had a chance to get some in. And it's ridiculous the price it costs. There are a lot of people out there profiteering right now. It's shocking what's going off. But yeah, there's none. I've had people asking me, can I make it from vodka? That'll protect you, won't it? Make your own hand sanitizer. Don't just wash your hands with the bar of soap.
Wash your hands with boiling water.
Wash your hands with soap, drink the vodka. Right.
Honestly, some of the shit, mate, it's just nonsense. And seriously, can I make it? Have you got any methylated spirit so I can make it with that? I said, no, but I've got a bar of soap over there. You could just wash your hands with that.
But where's the virtue signaling in that?
Oh, I didn't hit enter. Okay, sorry. I had something in the chat here I was going to share, which I don't share with many people, but since you guys are family, enjoy this. This is from a way long time ago.
Woo!
So, Adam, you might have to screen share that too. You can get to it easily.
Where is it? Where?
It's in the Zoom chat. The
Zoom chat. Give me a second, bro. Get really back in the room.
From a cell phone from like 9 years ago, something like that.
I could do it. It'd just be a pain in my butt.
Give me a second, bro. Just Walt throwing a quick curveball.
Hey, you called me out. I had to go find stuff. I had to dig.
You can always say no, Josh. Fucking do it yourself.
Oh, no. I'm on it. I think.
So far, so good.
Well, he said so, didn't I? Confidently before I walked into shite. Journey faithfully. No. This doesn't count. You can't submit this.
You wanted to hear something. There it is.
That's not what I said. It's got to be recorded for the cause. Yeah, the anti-fear porn cause.
Anti-fear porn.
That's what we're doing now.
Have faith. Be faithful.
We're recording it now for the cause.
No, I'm not having that. I want to hear Johnson go live sometime, or at least, a request. Have we asked chat? Well, because you're a legend, mate. You can sing.
I want to see him do like the whole Michael J. Fox, the beginning of Back to the Future. Where he has to plug in his guitar and turn up the amp real loud and just get all distorted.
Awesome, wasn't it?
And then at
Walt
the end,
turns
just
it
be
up
like,
to
I guess you're not
11.
quite ready for that yet.
Earth Angel.
It can't go past 11. This one's all the way to 11.
Right then, are we ready? I'm going to mute up.
Yeah.
Nice.
That was good shit.
That was the real deal.
You think you?
That is where it's at. Ah, man.
Wow.
Now I want to
Bravo.
go. I'm leaving here and going out now. I'm going partying and karaoke. I don't care what they say.
Right? I'll do it on the street. You know, just have people beatbox behind
Right.
us.
That's it.
A cappella.
John Cusack style. Just holding up a Big boombox singing your heart out.
Yes.
That was beautiful, Walt.
Thank you. When we get
Thank
that
you for sharing
copyright
that.
strike, I hope it was worth it. Hit me about halfway through. It's like, oh, shit, maybe not.
Next time, just sing it twice as fast.
There we go. Oh, wait, it wasn't Journey that took us out. It was Zeppelin. That's who took us out.
Yeah, Zeppelin took us out. Zeppelin and the Smurfs.
And the Smurfs. Can't forget those Mother Smurfers.
It was harsh, wasn't it? Taken out by the Smurfs.
I never did trust them.
Well, apparently
That
not.
numbers told me.
They're going to drug a fellow Smurf, brainwash him into thinking that he's on some far distant planet. What kind of sick,
Rose,
twisted piece of shit's going to do that?
I ask every few guests if they've ever done this. Have you ever tried to pick a lock?
Unsuccessfully.
Unsuccessfully? Don't give up. It's
well, I
such
think-
a cool feeling. Just for the this little weird tingle that you get when you do it for the first time.
Well, there's certain bathroom doors where there's a hole, and if you stick in a pin, you push a button and it opens. I don't feel like that counts, right? I'm talking about like when you stick a key in, and you know that inside there's all those different edges, and if you just stick in different things to make it match with the edges, it'll work. But my brain is not patient, so it would probably be very good for me to try doing that.
Well, yeah, it's like a little puzzle, kind of, the way that you do it. There's all kinds of there's guys on YouTube really that are great. I always watch Bosnian Bill. He's got a thing, lock picking for beginners, a playlist, and he explains it step by step. There's even a little manual he has you download right at the beginning, and it makes it so clear on how to do it and what you're trying to do when you have the little tools in there. And really, it's so easy when you start doing it. You're like, I mean, I was picking every lock I could find. And I was actually picking them. I was like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. Locks are, what is the purpose of a lock if it's this easy?
Yeah, right. It's just part of the deception. It's just part of it's a kind of an analogy for how they want us to make us believe that all the people in the lab coats, it's just too complicated to understand. Just don't even think that you can do it because you didn't go to university. So you're not a locksmith, so you can't pick a lock because you don't have a license. You didn't have to pay permission to the government to do it, so you can't do it. It's ridiculous.
So yeah, just don't give up. Keep on giving it a try, and I guarantee it'll be worth it. When you pick your first lock, that feeling that you get, I don't know how to explain it, but it's just this.
Hell yeah, pick locks, not zits.
Yeah, like I you like giggle every time you do it. Even when I do it now, I just sat here and picked like 7 locks. I have my practice ones. And even every time I do it now, it's still like, I did it.
Have you ever done a Rubik's Cube? That is too much for me, I think.
No, I cheat when I do the Rubik's Cube. I just take the thing apart and put it back together how it's supposed to be.
Oh, that totally works.
Yeah, I gave
sounds
up
good.
on. I know there's a way you can do it. There is a sequence. Yeah.
I sat
I had a
down with a
buddy at work that
notebook in
could do
high
it.
school and worked it out. I was that insane with it because I would not be defeated by this colored damn cube, and I wasn't going to pop it apart and put it back together like I saw other people doing. I was going to figure it out. So I sat down and tried this, tried that, crossed this out, crossed that out. I used to love solving puzzles and problems like that.
I have a riddle. Do you guys like riddles?
Hell yeah.
Riddles.
And I hope you never heard this one before. Okay. The person who makes it doesn't want it. The person who buys it doesn't use it. And the person who uses it doesn't know they're using it.
Dang it, I think I've heard this one too, and it's just not.
Say it again.
I just realized that riddles are like horrible in hell for radio. What am I doing?
I said,
It's
look,
like,
I am
I'll come
thinking
back
hard on
tomorrow.
it as we went to dinner. Yep, I thought it too, Rose. But that
You did? You thought that? You're like, what is she
like,
doing?
no, not what were you doing, but as I shut my mouth and start thinking, it's like, wait, don't stop talking. This is a show. We should hello, thinking it up later.
Okay, I
Put that
just
one
trolled you
aside
guys.
till later.
Didn't you just hear my
Or
thinking
you
noise?
got us back, right? I think you owed us one.
I tried to make
Zach, what were you
audible the fact that I was thinking. I said, Right.
Right.
That's
Let's
me
all just,
thinking
like,
on the radio.
Then we're gonna end up accidentally singing because they're gonna be like, just to keep the show going. Okay, so should I just tell you then? Because I know it's against the rules of riddles, but I
Say
screwed
it
up by
again.
just mentioning it.
Say it again before you tell us the answer.
Oh, okay. All right. The person who makes it doesn't want it. The person who buys it doesn't use it. And the person who uses it doesn't know they're using it. What is it?
Still don't know. It didn't help second time, but go on. Pull me out with misery, Rose.
Okay. A coffin.
I was thinking something about illnesses or something, but I couldn't get there. I was around the corner.
Yep, I had heard that one before, but it slipped away. As soon as you said it, I was like, "Oh man, that's it."
It's the only
I
one that
knew
I remember really to mention.
I don't think I know any good riddles off the top of my head.
No, I was just thinking again.
Yeah, but don't do that. We just learned our lesson, right?
Sit there thinking about riddles.
Well, I guess we could go ahead and cut it because it's been 3 hours, 40 minutes, approximately.
Yeah, guys. It has been so much fun. I'm so happy I joined you guys tonight.
Well, I hope you'll come back.
For sure.
This wasn't a one-off. We would love to have you back. It'd be an absolute pleasure to have you back.
Wonderful. Thank you, guys.
Well, thank you, Rose.
Cheers, Rose.
Yeah, you are awesome, Rose.
Yes,
You
it
guys
was
are awesome.
long overdue and well worth the wait. And hopefully we can have you back here again. And if you're an early riser, come hang out with us on the Ironworks for sure.
Okay, yeah. At times I am.
Or a late stayer upper, maybe. That's not my speed anyway.
Right. I always stay up until way too early.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, we are pretty early over there in the Ironworks. It's 4 a.m.
5 a.m. on the East
Before
Coast.
for you, right, Rose, there in Louisiana for sure. Or yeah.
Right on. Okay, guys, I'm going to remember that.
Well, thank you again.
Yeah, we hear that a lot. Just like that.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
no.
think about it.
I'm not one of them.
No, I'm joking.
4 in the
I know,
morning.
I'm
Okay, well, I'll
joking.
get back with you guys. Thanks.
Yeah, keep that in mind. Yeah, it is like the worst time to try to get guests on to a show. We understand that. So no, I'm just playing with you, Rose.
I'll show you. I'll be there.
There we go.
Well, I know the Iron Scouts would be tickled pink.
Absolutely.
Right
Oh
on.
yeah.
All right, guys. Well,
Just no riddles, please. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, for your debut, Rose, you were amazing.
It was phenomenal.
thank you so
That
much.
was awesome. Yeah.
I appreciate it, you guys, and I hope you have a wonderful, beautiful night. And shout out to everybody out there in the world. I love you all, and thank you so much for being part of this awesome community. It keeps me sane.
Give your boyfriend the best, too. Tell him we said hi.
I know I'm gonna get to go say hi to him after 5 hours because he did
right.
he did Jeranism Friday night at the lounge, so it's gonna be like so many hours. This might be the longest that we've been apart since we got together.
Well, we don't want to keep you any longer, so thank you so much for hanging out with us, Rose.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Good night.
All right,
Bye,
much love.
Rose.
We'll talk to you
Lots of
later.
love.
Yeah, Rose.
Amazing.
That was absolutely every bit as good as I'd hoped it would be.
Yep. John said,
So what we're playing out with then, Josh?
Later. Yeah, there we go.
I don't rightly know. Any requests?
Huh.
I've sung.
Well, I mean,
Walt's song.
there we go. You ready to hum us a tune, Josh? Guess that's a no.
Sound like a firm no, that did.
Firm no, right? Yeah, okay, bud, whatever.
It was a hell no.
Well, Vagabond being in chat, we could exit out on a really well-made video.
Give me a second.
Look at that, dude, knowing where I headed with it.
See,
and everyone else in chat, thank you all. I did my best to honor John Savage's memory and not play in chat too much tonight. Plus, I was a bit distracted having to go a couple of times and check on Mom. So thank you all for your patience. But it was great talking to you all in chat. Thank you again. And I'll say it again, always check your subscriptions because I wasn't subbed when I came to the show tonight.
Really?
Wow.
I took a picture just to prove it. I'll show it to you in a minute.
The past week and a half's been pretty mental. Everybody's subscription feeds have gone mad. Live shows haven't been showing. But I think things are returning to normal again.
Yeah, the last couple of days I've noticed I've been getting more notifications and things have been popping up again. So hopefully. Who knows?
Not this guy.
Wait, I think I texted.
As my little sister would say when we were very, very young, I think she was about 4. She wanted to say, who knows? Or who cares? And she would say, who matters?
Who matters?
Who matters? Yeah, it was great.
More applicable.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Get us out of here, Josh.
How in the hell are we going to top this next week?
Hell, I said we go off the air for another month, man. After that.
Yeah, and just have Rose come back
That's right.
again.
That was too good. Absolutely too good.
All right. Good night, boys.
Dig around.
Good night, Ed.
I'm going to press
Good
play.
night, all.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody.
Love
We'll
ya.
see you right back here next week.
Love y'all.
God bless.
We're up pretty high, our heads are almost in the clouds, and their feet are changing.